Okay, how's it going?
We're doing well. Michelle Knezovic, good morning. How are you doing?
Living the dream as always, fellas.
Living the dream. It is Major League Baseball opening day. Congratulations out there. We were talking about that before the show. I remember as a kid, I used to get really excited, and we've talked about this before. Like my interest level in baseball over the years has dwindled dramatically, but there is something that always is kind of special. It takes me back to my childhood about MLB opening day, and I didn't know until the update just a few seconds ago that apparently for the first time since, 1968?
68, all 30
teams are playing. How about that?
Today.
That is interesting. Yeah, because they've had a lot of in recent years. Usually they kind of separate one game out.
Yeah,
which isn't so.
It's always like, and usually they'll teams will play today, and then for some reason they don't play tomorrow to leave in the room for the rain out, and get back in there. I've always been like, oh, cool. So all these times where they're playing 26 days in a row, but the second day of the year, everybody's taking a day off.
Yeah,
Fun
yeah. No, I mean, man, I used to be so excited about opening day. I think it kind of depends on your fandom, though. Like if your team's good. I mean, Braves fans are excited today,
sure.
Right? And you grew up rooting for who?
I grew up rooting for the Red Sox for no other reason than everyone around me was rooting for the Yankees. I mean, that was the heyday of Jeter and everything going on there.
Yeah, sure.
So I wanted to be different as a child.
So that 04 series was pretty sweet.
It was pretty sweet.
Oh, yes, it was.
It was the talk of Ellis Middle School back in the day.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome. But, yeah, look, MLB opening day today. Like you said, the Braves. Lots of excitement lots of things to be excited about the Braves. Obviously, you take a look around, the Dodgers, pretty good.
Joe's White Sox are playing today.
The Astros, Joe's White Sox playing today.
Are they playing in decrepittrainstation.com park or whatever the hell they're playing?
It's the bottom of the barrel.
Save that for Ryan from Chicago.
Yes.
I heard it yesterday.
I think that's the name of the park, right? I don't know.
Yes,
something like that.
I think you nailed it. But the Braves, I'm looking at FanDuel Sportsbook right now. Just to make the playoffs, they have the third best odds in the entire Major League Baseball. Dodgers are first at -850. The Astros, who just won the World Series, at -750, and then the Braves at -650. So heavy expectation for the Braves this year.
Yeah, no, it's been fun to watch them, and it's been nice. It's amazing, if you're a certain age, the Braves used to be such a laughing stock,
Yeah.
When I was a kid, basically it was like Dale Murphy and crap, But you had to watch them all the time. They're on TBS. It was terrible.
Oh yeah.
And it's been 30 years of a really
pretty good.
One of the best organizations in sports.
Yeah.
Even if they haven't finished the job as much as fans would want, pretty darn good.
Pretty darn good. I'm looking at the worst record odds. The Nationals are the best odds to have the worst record, followed by the Oakland A's, the Colorado Rockies, the Cincinnati Reds, and then Joe's beloved Detroit Tigers.
Ah, there they are. I knew they'd be in there somewhere. It doesn't matter. The Lions are going to be, amazing this year, so no one cares.
That is true, yes.
Playoff team, baby.
Yes, the city of Detroit is just burning with anticipation right now from the Detroit Lions. So happy MLB opening day. We know it's a special day for many of you. I know a lot of Reds fans who over the years have just really enjoyed opening day, and then their enjoyment of the baseball season pretty quickly stops after that. But happy opening day to everyone out there who is excited about Major League Baseball coming up today. We got a lot to get into on the program here today. We'll have Preds assistant coach Dan Hinote coming up at 6:30. We'll get his thoughts on a big one tonight for the Preds as they take on the Pittsburgh Penguins, and our weekly visit with Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports from 8 to 8:30. So looking forward to all that. And let's begin on the Preds because after we got off the air yesterday, Joe, the Preds released a video of the post-game kind of speech by John Hines and Roman Josi after the win in Boston. We talked about the game against the Bruins yesterday. It's a heck of a win for the Predators. They go on the road. They take down the best team in the National Hockey League, and they do so with an incredibly depleted lineup that they're dealing with right now. But we all knew, this was an emotional win. It was, even before the game, like watching Willie and C-Mace on the broadcast, and they were discussing the events at the Covenant School, and shout out to the Boston Bruins. They did a really nice ceremony before the game, kind of honoring those victims, and had the moment of silence before the game and all that. And the Preds go out there and they get the win, and this is what transpired in the locker room after that win last night with John Hines and Predators captain Roman Josi.
and you made yourselves proud, you made the organization proud, and you also made, in my opinion, I'm pretty confident that the city of Nashville proud to come in here and beat the best team in the league on the day after what happened, which was really, really good. Captain, what do you got?
Yeah, just well, fancy, amazing job, boys. Juice, amazing. Glasser, everybody though, that was fun to watch. I mean, that's the best team in the league, and you just came in here, got 2 points. But like I just said, it's been a tough couple of days in Nashville. Obviously, a lot of people affected. The whole community, our team, obviously was really affected by it. And so tonight, we're not going to give this to play. We're going to put it on the table and just be thinking of the families that were affected, first responders, and just everyone else that was affected. So we'll put it on the table. This is for Nashville, and we'll be thinking of everyone that was affected by this tragedy.
So for those of you who are unfamiliar, the Predators, after each win, they've got this helmet that they put on, and they pass around, and they just kind of tap each other on the head after that's done. And that was Roman Josi with the helmet in his hand last night. He put it on the table, and then they just they left it in the middle there, had the applause, and then took a team picture around it. So nobody gets the player of the game. They just gave it to the city of Nashville. I thought that was really cool of the Predators. That made its rounds throughout social media yesterday. And look, if you missed the beginning of Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace yesterday, I would encourage you to go back and check it out, because Willie was very emotional yesterday to begin the show, just kind of discussing what was going on with the Predators in the locker room and all that stuff. And Caroline and Willie had a lot of emotion to begin the show yesterday, and I thought the post-game speech was really cool from the Predators, and good on the Predators for putting that video out. I know a lot of people really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and it's win or lose. These situations like this, and I think sports can be really important. But you think about the entirety of that day. Also, was it Cam? Because I know you guys had him on your show.
Caleb.
Right? Caleb, 17-year-old. So
yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, think about all the things that happened around this game. It included beating, kind of out of nowhere, beating the best team in the league, shorthanded with a young team like that. And, very well said after the game by Hines and Josi. And obviously this organization always has a great feel, I think, for the community, always beyond, involved in the community. And so good on them for approaching it that way.
Yep, no question about that. I thought it was really cool. You brought up Caleb, the 17-year-old who got in there and read the lineup before the game. It was interesting. Willie kind of took us behind the curtain of how that happened. So Ryan McDonough, the team flew out on Monday, and Ryan McDonough stayed behind because he wanted to be with his family given what happened there. So he flew up to Boston day of the game on Tuesday and found Caleb in the airport and then set that all up. So that was a really interesting, kind of pregame speech and certainly a postgame speech there from the Predators and their big win against Boston. And now, you're on the road tonight, Joe, against Pittsburgh, and we talked about the playoff picture yesterday. It was really an inexplicable night the other night between the Predators and the Jets. The Preds go on the road with a depleted lineup, and they take down the best team in the league, and Winnipeg gets shut out against the San Jose Sharks, who are 20-39-15 on the year. So Preds just 3 points back of the Jets tonight as they enter into play. So you've got a Pittsburgh team that has got a lot to play for. They're holding on to their and trying to fight for their playoff lives tonight in Pittsburgh, and they got hammered the other night by the Detroit Red Wings. So you would expect that they come out tonight and really have a lot to play for. But Winnipeg, they have Detroit coming up on Friday, who just hammered Pittsburgh. They got New Jersey on Sunday, and they got Calgary next Wednesday before taking on the Predators next Saturday. So there's a stretch of games here for Winnipeg against Detroit, who just beat Pittsburgh, New Jersey, who's one of the best teams in the East, Calgary, who's right there with them, and then the Predators, who are right there with them. It's a pretty important stretch for the Jets. And they went through the soft part of their schedule, and they beat Arizona, they beat Anaheim, they lost to L.A., and really one of their last gimmies was the San Jose game, and they screwed it up. They got San Jose again next week. Other than that, they have Minnesota and Colorado. So their schedule, if the Predators can hang in there and they can make that game in Winnipeg meaningful, the Jets' schedule coming down the stretch, they close out with Minnesota and Colorado, same way the Preds do. That could be pretty interesting.
Speaking of Minnesota, Colorado, how about Minnesota going into Colorado? last night.
They're playing well.
And that's a boy. We've been waiting. It's like, okay, at some point, the Avalanche are going to be like, okay, all right, I guess we're right around April. Time to wake up. But, man, that was one of those games where you kind of expected them to make a statement.
By the way, 2 goals from Freddie Gaudreau in that game last night. Nashville hockey legend Freddie Gaudreau.
Freddie Hockey.
He's got 16.
Hockey.
He's got 16 on the year, man.
How about that?
I mean, for a guy that, took a very unconventional path to get to the NHL, I mean, him on a good team, playing a big role, 16 goals. I mean, he's 29. It's not like he's some young guy anymore. It's pretty incredible to watch what he's done this year.
I think back to when he had to come up and all that stuff. So, we're talking 6 years ago. So he was 23. I actually remember, speaking of Willie, I remember Willie talking about a little bit on the air here about, what they thought of him and stuff. And then, not long after that, I was like, come on. I mean, this is just like some ridiculous, like out of nowhere, out of body experience. But look at him. He's fine. He's pretty good.
Hit 44 points last year. I mean, he's playing pretty well. So all that to say, I mean, that sets up a big one tonight between the Predators and the Pittsburgh Penguins. And we'll get into that coming up next. Take your thoughts as well. 615-737-1025. What do you make of the opportunity in front of this young group for the Nashville Predators? And could the Predators get a key body back tonight? We'll get into that coming up next as well. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3, The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Michelle Knezovic here for Superbook Sports. Happy opening day, everyone. Baseball is back, and the push for the postseason in hockey and hoops is here. Make it all count this spring with Superbook Sports. Superbook is the best wagering app around with a direct line to experienced bookmakers behind the counter in the one and only Las Vegas. Plus, you can get a $25 bonus today when you sign up, deposit, and wager all in the same day. I'm going to give you a little bit of everything. We'll do some basketball. We'll do some hockey. I'm taking the Preds on the puck line tonight over the Penguins. I'm also going to take San Diego State on the money line over FAU, and I'm going to take Miami to cover the 5.5 points versus UConn. Don't let the spring pass you by without winning some money with Superbook. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
The team at Mercedes-Benz of Music City have done it again. Here's Edwin Vickery to explain.
4-time recipient of Best of the Best. Less than 10% of the dealers in the country receive this award. How did you do it? We say culture, eat strategy for lunch, because we can strategize all we want, but unless you have the right culture and chemistry in the dealership, it will not work.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Hey, it's Jared for Hiller. Sometimes replacing equipment in your home can be overlooked until something breaks, but there's actually big problems that can come from outdated old vintage HVAC systems. Older systems require more maintenance and results in higher utility bills. This month during Hiller's Vintage Showdown, they're giving away a free HVAC system to the owner of the oldest unit. It's easy to enter. Just go online to happyhiller.com and submit a picture of your old unit. Everybody wins with a trade-in credit and 0% interest financing for up to 48 months on replacement. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep your operation running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, Maria in Miami, and Jules in Troy, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with high-quality supplies for every industry, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Dell Technologies semi-annual sale starts now with limited quantity deals on select performance PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Save on select essential accessories, plus free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Anyone want to tell me what happened?
Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Robby and Rexrode podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a bit of a dogfight. Like you said, really similar situations, and every point matters to both of us a lot. So I think it'll be a tough, tight game. But like I said, hopefully we can build some confidence off of what we did, last night in Boston. And just keep it going.
That was Luke Evangelista yesterday on Chase and Michelle. Preds taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight on the road. So the second game of a 2-game road trip tonight for the Predators. The puck drop is at 6 o'clock, pregame at 5 o'clock here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. And, obviously this is a Pittsburgh team that is desperate. They're holding on to the last playoff spot right now in the East. In Florida last night, they get the win in overtime against the Maple Leafs after their coach basically cussed every single individual on the bench out, up one side and down the other last night.
And he's a really nice guy.
He is a really nice guy, and he gave it to him last night. If you missed that video, go check it out. It's out there. Paul Maurice of the Florida Panthers just unloaded on his team on the bench last night for all the public to see, and that was very interesting. But whatever he said apparently worked, because they came back and they beat Toronto last night 3-2 in overtime. So that means Pittsburgh only 1 point ahead of the Florida Panthers right now in the playoff race. They're holding on to the final wild card spot in the East. So this is a massive game for the Pittsburgh Penguins and a huge test for the Predators after beating Boston on the road. Do you have what it takes to go on the road and take on Malkin and Crosby and the Penguins and hang in there and try to come away with 2 points tonight and make things really interesting? If you win tonight, if you're the Predators, you are 1 point behind the Winnipeg Jets with one game in hand on the Winnipeg Jets as well. So a big one tonight for the Preds.
Yeah, and again, we've talked about the schedule upcoming for the Preds. So this is a tough one. Like you said, a team with all the incentive, but there are better teams ahead on the schedule too. So can you carry momentum from the last game into this one? Doesn't always work that way, but that's the idea.
Yeah, for sure. And really, the key to the game is going to be defensively. Can you contain the Crosbys, the Malkins of the world? And we know this for the Predators. We've talked about it. Like, offensively, just not there right now. Like, you've got a lineup that is scratching and clawing and doing everything they can possibly do to get to 2 goals. Like, that's what it's been basically for the last couple of weeks for the Predators. Maybe that's the formula it's going to have to be tonight. I've talked about it. Like, that's a hard way to win in the NHL, but I would assume Saros is going to get a night. He was electric the other night. He was really good against Boston. You're going to need another performance like him. I saw, Sean Shapiro covers the NHL for The Athletic, throw it out there yesterday. He said, the Predators are going to UC Saros their way into the playoffs, aren't they? I was like, well, maybe. I mean, he played pretty well the other night against Boston.
That's about what it will have to be, I would think, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're going to start putting 5-6 goals up in a stretch here. I wouldn't think.
Yeah, for sure. So it's one of those things where also you look at the lineup, and is there a chance that Roman Josi returns tonight? We had David Poyle on the show on Tuesday, and he said that Roman Josi was on the trip. Obviously he is. We just heard from Roman Josi in the post-game speech in the locker room in Boston the other night. Is he ready? Is he ready to go tonight? And how comfortable are the Predators putting him in there? I mean, obviously he's close, which is good, but is he ready to go tonight? Obviously, that would be a huge boost, not only defensively, but offensively. I mean, Tyson Barrie has basically been carrying them offensively through the weekend, and he's a defenseman. We know what Roman Josi can do offensively, and maybe Roman Josi back in the lineup can generate you another goal or two in a game that you just otherwise wouldn't have. They need it.
Just imagine, a couple months ago, Tyson Barrie's carrying these the Predators offensively. Like, it's amazing sometimes looking out there, and you're like, wow, this lineup is just a little bit different than it used to be not too long ago. But yeah, I would think that with Josi along for the ride, that they must have felt pretty decent. I mean, I suppose it's good to have his, he's talked to the team without playing the other night, so it's not like it's not important to have him around. But I would think there'd be a pretty good chance.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the expectation if he went on a 2-game trip that he'd play on one of them.
Yep, I would think that there would be a good chance of that as well, and that would be huge for the Predators in order to get that back. You look at the lineup right now. Cody Glass has been playing well lately. He's scoring goals. I don't know if you saw his shot against Boston. That's a heck of a shot he had for his goal the other night against the Bruins. And we asked the question yesterday, what exactly is he as they move forward here? I still don't know that I know for sure. I've really liked a lot of what I've seen from him this year. I don't know that I'm there yet in terms of, that guy's the number one center for you as you move forward. But I've been encouraged by what I've seen from that end this year. Obviously, Novak's been playing well lately. They moved Afanasiev up to begin the game on Tuesday in the top 6 just with Duchesne being out. I mean, you got to find some pieces to put in the top 6 right now. But is that a thing again tonight, or can Evangelista get back rolling and get back putting the puck in the back of the net? I mean, they offensively are just scratching and clawing right now, and which young guy can step up is basically the question you're asking heading into every game right now, because the options at forward for older guys are pretty limited right now.
Yeah. But, I mean, look, if you're a Preds fan, I got to think, I know it's not fun if your team scores 1 goal, but it's got to be kind of fun to look at a bunch of young guys who have their best hockey ahead of them trying to scrounge offense as opposed to, older guys that you're wondering if they've played their best hockey.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's the other side of things. Like, we've seen Crosby and Malkin, when they really need them to come through before, they've done it. Like the other day, they played a big game against Washington, and Anthony Mantha, the Capitals, just had a brutal turnover right in the middle of the ice to Malkin, and he put it away. Like those guys, time and time again, we've seen. I mean, they won 3 cups. They've made big plays when it matters the most. It's a huge game for them. Like they really need to have this one. So whatever the best version is of the Penguins, and I don't know what version that is. I don't think they're all that good this year, but whatever that best version is, I think especially to begin the game tonight, you're probably going to see that if you're the Predators. And can you weather that? Like, can you weather that storm? Can these young guys in a high-pressure situation go in there? Well, I should say high pressure. High pressure for Pittsburgh. It's going to be high pressure for Pittsburgh. Are the Predators freed up enough to go in there, and maybe they're young enough to not really recognize the magnitude of the game they're playing in tonight? Sometimes we've seen that in sports that helps some of the younger guys out sometimes.
Yeah, well, but that could be. I mean, but obviously they're playing for a lot too.
They are.
This is where the experience you would think would help the Penguins. But, I mean, weird stuff happens down the stretch, I think, especially in this league.
Well, if Saros plays like he did the other night, that's an equalizer out there.
Yeah. Speaking of the Capitals, by the way, is this it for Laviolette there?
I think it may be. I mean, they've already sold off. They're not making the playoffs. They're 5 points back, and they've got 7 games left. So they're not making the playoffs. But, it kind of feels like his shelf life. Now, it's been a weird year for them, too. They've had some injuries, and then Ovechkin lost his dad, and he was out for a while, and it's been kind of a weird year that way. But it's also like you look at their team, and it's Oshie, and it's Carlson, and it's Ovechkin, a lot of guys they won the cup with, and they're not getting any younger. I mean, Kuznetsov is there. They still have some talent there, but they're not getting any younger. I think there's a decent chance that he is gone after this year. And then what does that look? Is he getting another job?
I'm just saying, so he'd be available.
He would be available, yes.
Interesting.
So you think they could really go full circle, get Barry Trotz back in as coming back in the organization as GM, and then just go out there and be like, Peter, you want to come on home?
Just have all this, like the same 3 or 4 people, just different roles at all
circulate.
times. Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, could he be head coach, or would he have to do something else? Peter, you want to come be an assistant coach?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Seems like Peter Laviolette would really love that. Has the personality.
PR?
Yeah.
Come do PR?
Yeah, you want to come do some? Hey, you want to come deal with the media every day, Peter? We know you loved it while you were here.
Vingan would be clamoring to get back on the beat.
He would. Yes, he would. Oh, man. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. Some other big games around the league tonight in the Western Conference. Edmonton taking on L.A. By the way, Victor Arvidsson had a heck of a week last week. He was the number 1 star in the NHL. So, big matchup tonight between the Kings and the Oilers. The Ducks taking on the Kraken, and Vegas and San Jose Sharks. So not really a great night in terms of matchups in the NHL on the Western Conference side of things, but the LA-Edmonton game should be interesting. And both Matthias Ekholm and Victor Arvidsson, former Preds, playing very well as of late. So we'll
RV Hustle still works, baby.
RV Hustle is getting after it out there. So we'll see what happens on that front. Speaking of the Nashville Predators, coming up next, we'll be joined by Predators assistant coach Dan Hinote. We'll get his thoughts on the matchup tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi, and this is Nashville.
Going to the front of the net, he scores. What a gorgeous move. Roman Yossi.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hey, Robby Stanley here. The tournament is heating up, and there's no better place to get in on that action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. That's because right now FanDuel is giving new customers a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Just go to FanDuel.com/Rob and sign up today to claim your no-sweat first bet. Then you can wager on everything from the money line to point spreads to which team will be cutting down the nets. I'm riding on the Owls. They have the lowest odds, but they've been counted out all tournament, and I'm a big believer in the FAU Owls. But you can take it any way you want to take it. Just make sure you do it on FanDuel on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So don't miss your shot at a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/Rob to sign up. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Get a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
The British invasion is coming. Queen plus Adam Lambert, the Rhapsody Tour. Brian May, Roger Taylor, plus Adam Lambert, performing rock's greatest anthems, live in Nashville. Bridgestone Arena, October 25th. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. For more, visit queenonline.com.
How do I hear from my friends at Dunkin'? Warm up and feel the love with Dunkin'. Treat yourself and a loved one to a brown butter toffee hot or iced latte, which is superb paired with the bacon avocado tomato sandwich. Be sure to try the all-new stuffed biscuit bites. It's a warm biscuit dough wrapped around a mixture of bacon, scrambled egg, and cheddar cheese. Visit us at our newly remodeled Dunkin' on Briley Parkway in Nashville or the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet and our other locations throughout Middle Tennessee. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Terms apply.
Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hi, this is Chef Mark again from Bob's Steak and Chop House at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Looking for the next place to hold a business dinner or just a private room for you and your guests to enjoy? Then look no further than Bob's. We believe in top quality food and service without all the distractions. So join us and experience why we've been voted Diner's Choice on Open Table for 6 years running.
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hey, it's Jared. Are you looking to move? If so, do yourself a favor and reach out to my friends at TriStar Moving. You can be assured your move will be stress-free because they've got new utility vans to help with pack jobs to separate your high-value or fragile items from the bulk of your furniture, and their movers are carefully picked and highly trained. No one in the game is doing this. TriStar Moving is raising the standard in the moving industry. When you're ready to move, give them a call. TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, or online at nationalmoving.org/radio, and tell them Jared Stillman referred you for 10% off. That's TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robby and Rexrode 6 to 9.
You are talking about a team that's building a roster.
Chase and Michelle 9 to 11.
He's still under contract.
It's not always X's and O's.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace 11 to 2.
Trades, free agents.
Let's get it going. I think this is a good hire.
And Stillman and Company 2 to 6.
I can give you one of the best coaches in the league.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Nashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Hey, it's ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck on Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. We are scheduled to be joined shortly by Predators assistant coach Dan Hinote as the Preds prepare to take on the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight on the second game of a 2-game road trip. They'll be back coming up on Saturday for another afternoon matchup against the St. Louis Blues. So a little bit of a stretch of afternoon hockey on Saturdays lately for the Predators, which I love. I'm a big fan of afternoon hockey.
Yeah, I like afternoon hockey too. I feel like the Preds don't like it that much in terms of performance.
I mean,
in the last
it did
couple
not
years.
go well this past Saturday, for sure. And now that I'm thinking about it, it did not go well the Saturday prior to
right?
that.
Like I feel like
sure.
it hasn't been great for them.
Now they did absolutely destroy the Florida Panthers in an afternoon game a month ago. So there's
Okay,
that.
that's not all bad.
Mixed results,
Yeah.
except it does feel like a lot of those have gone poorly lately.
Yeah.
Maybe the Predators
Maybe Nick Keyser can add all those up.
Maybe
for
so. We need the reporter to get in
Yeah.
there and add all those up. Maybe the real secret to the home ice advantage part of it could be the nighttime at Bridgestone too. Just night adds a different element to it.
Yeah, little people done a little more pre-gaming.
Well, there is that could take place as well. 615-737-1025. Let's go to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Predators assistant coach Dan Hino. Dan, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. How are you guys?
We're great. Appreciate you taking time to be with us. Dan, we were talking about just the win, the emotion in the win the other night against Boston. Obviously, we all know and we've discussed what happened in this city, just a horrible situation. But, sports can sometimes be uplifting and can be a distraction when you've got real-life terrible things going on in your city. And I think your team certainly accomplished that the other day with what they were able to do with the Boston Bruins. What was it like being a part of that game and being a part of that locker room after the win in Boston?
Well, it was very emotional, obviously, with what happened, and the boys kind of using a rallying cry to help, bring the city a little bit of a rest, from the drama and everything like that. And like you said, if you can provide that distraction and in a time like that, then the boys are obviously glad to do it. And so they pulled together, and it was a great emotional win for everybody.
How many times have you had a 17-year-old read the lineup there, Dan, before the game?
Well, and that's the other thing too, right? It's everything kind of just worked out how it was supposed to, with McDonough meeting Caleb on the flight, and then Caleb getting a chance to read the lineup card, and then now we have to fly him from city to city just for luck. But he's it was great, and like I said, it just kind of worked out how it was supposed to work out. So that's a fun part about sports.
So, Dan, setting up a really big one tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins. What do you make? Obviously, we were talking to David Poyle the other day. The injuries that you guys have sustained has been borderline absurd lately, but the young guys have stepped in and they've hung in there. What do you make of the way that your young players in particular have embraced the situation that they're in and have allowed you guys to remain in this thing in the playoff race?
Yeah, it's been great, and it's a testament to our scouting staff and to our minor league system to have these players at our disposal and have them ready when it is time for them to come join us. So so kudos to those two departments, but also these kids are hungry. They're coming in. They got all kinds of energy. A lot of them have decent puck skills and good speed. And if you can get guys believing, which Coach Hines has done a great job with that. If you can get them to believe that they can compete and win in this league, that sometimes that can be a powerful force, especially at this time of the season.
Yeah, and obviously you guys are all chasing something right now, but you are looking at these guys individually, and I guess you're trying to develop players. You're thinking ahead of what they could be. As you look at some of these guys, Dan, how much more growth to the ceiling? Let's say an Evangelista, for example, is there still to come?
Yeah, I think for all those young kids, and I include Cody Glass in that statement, with Novak and Evangelista and Sherwood and these young guys that have come up and had success. I think the ceiling for these guys is far away still. I think there's tons of room for development, physically, but I think as far as the game is concerned as well, we were laughing the other day because these kids, they come up and they're all hungry and they got vinegar in their bloodstream, but then the NHL will rear its ugly head with our schedule, right? It's 5 and 8 and 6 and 9 or whatever it ends up being, and And you realize real quick you cannot survive on adrenaline alone in this league. So it's great because they're getting to learn firsthand how you have to prepare in this league. And night in and night out, you have to take care of yourself. And if you spend one night where you don't get good sleep, next thing you know, you're 3 games in a row where you just haven't felt good. So, it's a great lesson for our young guys to kind of go through all of that.
Preds assistant coach Dan Highnote with us here on Robby and Rexrode. Dan, what have been your impressions of Igor Afanasyev and what he's brought to the table for you guys thus far?
He's been really good since he's come up. He's a big body. He can skate. He's got a rocket for a shot if he can get it off. But he's kind of grasped his opportunity and has worked through it. In the sense of he's been physical. He's hard on the forecheck. When he can shoot it, he's been shooting. So he's taken it and ran with it a little bit, which has been great. He's not getting a ton of time special teams wise, but his 5-on-5 game has been north and south, which is exactly how he needs to play.
So the huge game for you guys obviously tonight, Dan, but obviously also a huge game for Pittsburgh, and we know the achievement. We know the great players on that side. How do you guys approach this, with this young team, this opportunity, and how much can momentum from the last game be a factor?
Yeah, well, it has to be. We need to use every ounce of opportunity that we can get, and if you can use the momentum from Boston's win into tonight first period, then perfect. It's the key for us is that our young guys can't sit and watch Malkin and Crosby, and we recently played them, so there's a little bit of that which helps a ton. But still at the same time you got there's still Crosby and Malkin on the ice and Letang and these guys that half of our young squad has watched growing up. So you have to respect them, but you can't sit and watch them play. You have to compete against these guys and make it hard. Like Evangelista did his first time against, I think Malcolm was one of his favorite players growing up. And, I think he got him pretty good physically on that one shift, which is perfect. That's what you want from these young guys, because as much as you respect them and have watched these guys growing up, you still have to compete with them and win your puck battles, etc. So that's going to be the key tonight is that we start this game, right from the opening drop, and give everything we got until the final whistle.
Dan, we talked to David Poile the other day. Obviously, Roman Josi is on the trip. Poile said there's a chance he could play against Pittsburgh. Is there any clarity on that situation with Josi? And if you do get him back, how big of a boost would that be? Not just defensively, but offensively, and everything that we know that he can bring to the table with what's going on offensively right now.
Yeah, well, he provides us a ton, both offensively, defensively, emotionally. He's our leader, and for good reason. And these young guys look up to him, and everything he says is gold when he is speaking to these young guys. So it would help us a ton if and when he comes back. I don't have any clarity as to when, but or if tonight, but I just know when he does come back, it's going to be a huge help in every single way.
Dan, on that side, what have you learned about Tyson Barrie as a player now, being able to be up close with him for a stretch here?
Well, you know what? What's impressive is his patience with the puck. He's a good puck mover. His instincts offensively, you can see, are really good. When to and when not to. But I think I've been most surprised with his patience with the puck. I don't know that I gave him credit for that before having seen him day in and day out now. But he's able to let plays develop a little bit longer than most guys when he has the puck, because he's got that ice in his veins, which you can't teach, you can't coach. So to me, that's what's been most impressive is his puck patience.
Predator assistant coach Dan Highnote, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. Dan, really appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning. Good luck tonight against Pittsburgh, and we'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Absolutely. Preds assistant coach Dan Highnote with us here on Robby and Rexrode. Preds taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight on the road. Again, puck drop at 6 o'clock, pregame at 5 o'clock here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. And, it's interesting, that's a coaching phrase that is pretty common when you're dealing with a young group, is like you can't stand around and watch Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin do their things. Like there's a such thing as too much respect that sometimes those players get around the league, and I'm interested to see how the Predators handle that tonight. Now, they did make a move yesterday that's an interesting one. They signed Jake Livingstone to an entry-level contract, and he's been at Minnesota State. He put up 80 points in 111 games at Minnesota State and was one of the top college free agents out there and available. So it looks like he could join the team on Saturday. So we'll see what happens there, but maybe adding to the young mix a little bit with college free agents. The college free agency world in the NHL is always fun because Predators fans get to think back of Jimmy Vesey.
Jimmy Vesey.
Yes, very good stuff.
Yeah. Well, they need more young guys, in the pipeline, defensemen, which is crazy to say, but it's true. And also, by the way, that used to be Mankato State, which to me is a cooler sounding name, but whatever.
I would agree. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Coming up next, it's time for the best and worst things in sports. We'll take your submissions on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. We are live from our 1025 The Game studio, brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Join Robby and Rexrode for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Preds fans, Superbook wants to send one lucky fan a pair of tickets on the ice. Text the keyword Superbook, all one word, to 615-737-1025 for entry to win.
If you compare a diamond from Genesis Diamonds to one you find somewhere else, one thing will always stand out. The Genesis diamond is, well, prettier and more brilliant.
We will show you why our diamond's light performance is significantly greater than things you can get elsewhere.
Genesis Diamonds Vice President David Cooper.
Not just because of the color and the clarity, but because of things a certificate can't tell you. Because of the characteristics, the personality, the material.
It's the extra step in quality control that comes from an owner obsessed with perfection.
Our owner is incredibly picky when he buys diamonds, searching through hundreds just to get a handful. You will not see diamonds that have the fire at your average mall store or chain store or smaller independent because they don't have the access worldwide like Genesis Diamonds does. Our diamond's light performance, character, and explosive brilliance is bar none the best your money can buy.
Don't compromise with a diamond that just looks good on paper. Get a diamond that reflects your love in the best light possible.
This diamond has to be spectacular.
Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Sports and leadership go hand in hand. In fact, 94% of women executives were student athletes. Play Like a Girl is creating a more equal playing field for the next generation of women in leadership. You can help too. Become a mentor, donor, or volunteer. Learn more at iplaylikeagirl.org/mentor.
Lowe's MVP's bonus days are back for pros. Right now, buy a DeWalt 20-volt Max Power Stack battery 2-pack at $199 and get a select DeWalt Bear tool free. Plus, earn 3 times the bonus points on all Metabo HPT tools and products. Shop even more savings and bonus points offers during MVP's bonus days at Lowe's. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid 3/20 through 3/31. Subject to change. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. Visit Lowes.com/MVP's bonus points for details.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing and me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is everything.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Petty. Take some Titans.
Derrick Henry.
Some Preds.
Roman Yossi.
Even some hoops.
Light fires. Wow.
Put it in a blender. And what do you have? Jason Michelle.
Pretty incredible.
Call or text and weigh in.
The fastest 2 hours in sports radio. Weekday mornings at 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
Good morning.
You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
I have the radio on. I'm listening to
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. The best and worst of the sports week. Now on Robby and Rexrode.
on ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
And it is that time of the week. Time for the best and worst things in sports here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your submissions, your best and worst things in sports on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. Joe Rexrode, as you do every week, would you like to kick us off with your best and worst things in sports?
Yeah, and I think on the best front, certainly whatever you guys want to do, I think, but we could, we've been talking about the Preds in this week and all. I mean, I think that's almost like a, I'm trying to think, it's almost like a
Gimme?
Well, yeah, but it's like one of my favorite classic rock stations in Virginia. They do like a top 300, but they would just retire Stairway to Heaven and Freebird. Like those two are like they don't count. They're automatic.
We automatically
you know what I mean?
know, yeah.
You play them at the end of the whole thing. But anyway, but if you guys want to do that, that's fine. I am going to go a different direction, and I'm going to go with Caitlin Clark of Iowa. And you've talked about it, Robby. I mean, you ranted about
I have.
I mean, she does not disappoint, and her last performance was just spectacular, getting Iowa to the Final Four with a game which apparently the ratings for that game better than any NBA game this year. I mean, it's another example, I think, but also the improvement in terms of the television schedule and access to this tournament shows you. I mean, people are going to watch women's sports if you let them watch women's sports. And she's spectacular, and I am absolutely geeked about Caitlin Clark in Iowa against South Carolina. I don't think they're going to beat South Carolina, but you know what? I mean, she just had a 40-point triple-double. So
beast.
Can she get 50? Because she might need 50. I am all about that game. So it's just been awesome to watch. Just spectacular. And then my worst, we'll flip it around to the men's side. The people complaining about this Final Four, just shut up.
Why are our brains the same?
Were these both yours?
What are people complaining about? Just that there's no blue blood, quote unquote, in there.
Yeah. It's so yesterday, Jared's gone, so we did Joe versus Caroline, and I mean, I agree with what Caroline's saying. Like, people aren't as excited. But the point I made was, the funny thing is, like, last year was this blue blood Final Four, and it was Kansas, Duke, North Carolina, and who was the fourth
Villanova.
team? And then Nova was in there too. But that North Carolina last year actually profiled as a worse team than Florida Atlantic this year. Yeah. Like Ken Pom and anything else you want to look at, like Florida Atlantic's a way better team this year than North Carolina last year. North Carolina has actually been crap the last 2 years, and they had like a couple weeks where they got hot in the tournament.
Yep.
But it's North Carolina, so I get it. And I understand that, look, I mean, I'd be excited to watch Alabama try to beat somebody this weekend too, bigger brand names, but these teams are good. So embrace these games. This tournament is wacky and wild, and this one especially. So let's stop complaining and enjoy the basketball.
Shout out to the Owls. That's all I got to say. Shout out to the Owls.
I mean, hey, man, those guys, you got to hand it to them. I mean, they've almost been bounced several times. I thought Tennessee was, just going to grind out about an 8-10 point win over them. I thought
I guess you could just play in Fort Lauderdale if you really wanted to. Miami and FAU, just meet in the middle somewhere.
I mean, just the battle for South Florida.
That's right.
So exciting.
Michelle Knesvik, your best and worst things in the world of sports.
Well, every week we do this segment, I find out more and more Joe and I's brains are very similar because I quite literally had the exact two same ones, but I'll go a different route, I guess you could say. So, off of just the women's sports and the Caitlin Clark, if you look at the Final Four ticket prices right now and you compare the men's to the women's, I think the cheapest ticket for the women's is $230 something and the cheapest for the men's is like $85,
which is wild.
And I think it just shows, from bottom up, and it takes a long time to expand sports as a whole, but you're seeing, it's not just the UConns and the Lady Vols and things like that, like South Carolina and Iowa. The game has just expanded so much, and I think you also can bring that to the men's side too, right? We're finally seeing, a non-Power 5 school, FAU, that could win this thing and has a really good shot at winning this championship. I know UConn looks pretty good right now, but I just think it's awesome. I love the parity in college basketball. So I'm very excited for all this. And then on the flip side, Joe and we have the same one. So it's people complaining about this. Last year, people were so on the St. Peter's train, and they're like, we want to see it. I'm so sick of all the blue bloods. And then we give it to you. And now all of a sudden people care about TV ratings. They're like, oh, we're not going to watch this. It's like, are you kidding? Like, this is what we've wanted. People get so sick of the Kentuckys, the UConns, UNCs, Kansas, all this stuff, Duke. I'm a Kentucky fan, and I'm so excited for it. And don't say it's not as good basketball because they beat those teams. They beat Tennessee, who's one of the best teams in the country. Kansas State, San Diego State beat Alabama. So, they deserve to be here. And just because they don't have a historic program does not mean they're any less good. So those are my best and worst this week.
I agree with all that. I've always said, though, that people want upsets for the first part, and then they don't want them after.
And then they don't want them.
They don't want them after.
Right. Yeah, I get excited too. I was excited about Duke Carolina last year. Sure.
Yeah.
But, let's embrace the variety.
All right, my best thing in sports, I got a few that I could roll through. The Preds, and we've talked about it already. The speech in Boston after the win. Great job by the Preds the other night. I will give my best thing in sports in addition to that. Did you see Vanderbilt baseball over the weekend? They put up about 3,000 runs against the Mississippi State Bulldogs. It was unbelievable. Now, look, I don't know. Look, obviously Vanderbilt deserves credit for that. It was their bats. They put up 26 the first night against Mississippi State, and I think it was 18 the second night, and then only a measly 11 in the third game. So it came down dramatically to 11 runs in the third game. But the bats of Vanderbilt coming alive against Mississippi State. So, look, we talked about it last year. Got to have those bats if you're Vanderbilt, and they've been coming alive lately. And Vanderbilt heading into a weekend series against Georgia coming up. So the Doors, the Vandy boys, that was my best thing in sports. It was when I looked down, I said, 26. They put up 26 runs in an SEC baseball game. It's unbelievable to watch that the other night.
Yeah, and that's supposed to be the question.
Exactly.
They've got arms all over the place, but the bats are flying. And this is their first 6-0 start, I believe.
I think so.
Which is
wild.
Which is
kind of crazy.
It is. Yeah, so
we'll see if Vanderbilt can keep it going against Georgia coming up. An additional best thing in sports, just because apparently I have a lot of best things in sports this week. My guy Dwayne Wade making it into the Hall of Fame. I don't think that's a big surprise.
And Becky Hammond.
Yep. But D. Wade getting in there. Not a big surprise, but shout out to D. Wade for getting in there. My worst thing in sports, and we talked about it before we came on air today, Joe, the Dallas Mavericks. This idea that trading for Kyrie Irving was going to somehow work out for the Dallas Mavericks is just hilarious to me. We looked at each other at the time, and I said, well, that's a horrible idea because Luka Doncic has the ball the whole time, and Kyrie Irving's going to want it the whole time. It's not going to work, and they've lost 5 in a row, and they may not make the playoffs with the way that they've been playing as of late. And you got Kyrie on the floor last night. He was talking about how, well, I didn't expect this to happen. This is not what I had in mind when coming to Dallas. I was like, well, I bet it's not what they had in mind either when you came to Dallas, but just seems to happen with you lately. So, look, I don't like Kyrie Irving. I've made that pretty clear on this program here before. He's probably my least favorite athlete in the history of the world. But, I don't know, Chris Paul would probably challenge him for that too. But it's kind of funny to watch this totally fall apart. But I do feel bad for Luka Doncic and the Mavs. Sometimes Think smarter, not harder, and this is not working out so well for the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah. The thing is, I want them in the playoffs, though. Like, I want them in there. I want to see it. I watched a fair amount of that game last night, and actually what I saw was Kyrie just basically deferring. Kyrie Irving's just like standing in the corner like he's just like a 3-and-D shooter, and Luka's just – and I like Luka a lot. Luka's a great player, but sometimes it's like, dude, do something other than just back people down for 20 seconds.
Right.
And, I mean, he's a tremendous player, but it doesn't work.
It does not.
It does not work.
It does not at all.
And it's too bad because, yeah, right now they're a game out of the 10 spot to even be in the play-in.
Which is hilarious. I must say, I enjoy it.
It is, but like as a basketball fan, like I do want to watch them in the thing. So I guess I'm with you on your worst thing, but I'm rooting for it to get better.
Got a texter that says Mississippi State has no pitching. Stop celebrating. This from a texter.
Well, that's fine.
They put up 26 runs in a Division I college baseball game.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to see what Mississippi State has become since winning it all, right?
Yes.
Jeez.
No question about it. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll get into a piece that Joe Rexrode has come out with on The Athletic from Pro Day in Columbus, Ohio, following the Tennessee Titans around. We'll get into that. Several different topics that Rexrode brought up in his piece at The Athletic. We'll get into all that as well. Take your thoughts, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
Blown out in one game against a team that's just flat out better than you.
And your source for Nashville sports.
How many needs are you going to create for yourself this offseason?
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3, The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
The Nashville Sounds are back in Hit City for baseball season. Join us at First Horizon Park, March 31st, for opening day as the Sounds take on the Louisville Bats. Stick around for post-game fireworks Friday or family fun all weekend. Tickets are available now at NashvilleSounds.com.
Men, this is Evan Bass with the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and I've been helping men with sexual health issues for many years. I've seen the pain and anxiety that men walk into the clinic with when erectile dysfunction is affecting them. And I also know the heartache and difficulty it can bring to their partner. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've been successfully treating men for ED for many years now. We've seen the amazing impacts that those treatments have on a man's confidence and positivity. And we've seen the wonderful things those treatments also do for a man's relationship. That's why I'm pleased to announce that we are now offering the same great services we offer at our Nashville clinic at our new location in Franklin, which will make it much more convenient for those men living south of Nashville to get treated. So call us today and book your appointment at our Midtown location or at our new clinic in Cool Springs. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatment sex start results vary.
We do screen printing.
Music City Screen Prints.
We do embroidery.
Music City Screen Prints.
We do large format printing.
Music City Screen Prints.
We do promotional goods.
Music City Screen Prints.
We do graphic design.
Music City Screen Prints.
MCScreenprints.com. That's MCScreenprints with an S.com. 615-866-6010.
You think it, we print it.
This week's Nashville's best deal is the all-new Hot Works Goodlettsville off Long Hollow Pike. Right now, join for just $39 in time for their grand opening April 1st. That's $60 off at theGameNashville.com/deals. Hot Works offers 24/7 infrared fitness in 15 and 30-minute virtually led sauna sessions. Get more workout in less time at Hot Works. And right now, save $60 on enrollment at theGameNashville.com/deals.
At Progressive, we love sports and saving you money, so we bundled them together.
The final horse now in the gate, and they're off. They're starting off with a double toe loop jump, leaving a difficult 7-10 split as there's movement on the inside rail. Only 9 pins separate them now as they head to the final quarter mile. They're neck and neck. It's down to the last frame. Here comes the axle jump. They bundled their home and auto insurance with Progressive. Win, strike, savings, gold.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
Your Game Center update.
I'm Michelle Knezovic, and opening day is upon us for the first time since 1968. All 30 teams will play their first games today. The Nashville Predators will continue their road trip tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Puck drop will be at 6 p.m., and our pregame coverage will start at 5 p.m. on 102.5 The Game. The Nashville Predators are coming off a big win in Boston, and Luke Evangelista joined Chase and Michelle yesterday to discuss his time so far in the NHL.
Yeah, I mean, it's been the best experience of my life, basically. Like, I'm still, I'm just living out a dream right now. I've wanted this ever since I was a kid, and I'm so fortunate to be in the position I'm in, and grateful for the opportunity. And I still just got to keep earning my spot. Obviously with all the movement and trades and injuries and all that stuff, there's an opportunity for the young guys here in Nashville. And
the Memphis Grizzlies fell to the LA Clippers yesterday, 141-132, but still sit in second in the Western Conference at 48-28. This report is presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. I'm Michelle Knezovic for 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gunny performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby Rexrode. With Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Thursday morning. We'll have Charles Robinson coming up from 8 to 8:30 for our weekly visit with him. So looking forward to that. Right now, taking your thoughts, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. So Joe Rexrode, you were in Columbus, Ohio for the Pro Day that Ohio State put on last week. And obviously, we've talked about it. Lots of intriguing people out there at the Pro Day for Ohio State, whether that's C.J. Stroud or Paris Johnson Jr. or maybe some people with one eyeball to next year looking around and say, ooh, look, Marvin Harrison Jr. over there. He looks pretty good out there. Pretty interesting stuff at Ohio State Pro Day. Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel there as well, obviously. And you come out with a piece from Columbus on The Athletic entitled Rand Carthon and Titans at Ohio State, the intel, the analytics, and Deputy Mayor Vrabel. This is on theathletic.com. So there's a lot to get into with this piece. Just generally, what were some of your takeaways from your time in Columbus as the Titans were visiting Ohio State at the Pro Day up there?
Well, first of all, it was a good choice, by me because, of course, there was no way that the Vols would still be playing hoops. So it'd be a great week to go up to Columbus and do a
worked out well
trip. Yeah, so I had to, secretly be in Columbus last week when I was on the show. You said I was in New York. We lied to the listeners.
We did.
I wasn't in New York. I was in Columbus.
I didn't even know.
Really?
Yeah.
Top secret.
Yes.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just gotta. I honestly, I didn't. I would have been fine with you knowing. So I did the round trip Columbus to New York. That was one of the worst flights I've ever taken, by the way. Coming back from New York to Columbus in wind gusts. It was like the woman next to it was two of us. She had the barf bag out.
Yeah.
Coming down in that plane, and I tell you what, man, I kept looking. I'm like, oh boy,
this could be bad.
It was very close. So anyway, the idea being basically pick a pro day to try to follow Rand Carthon around and talk to him about it, and just try to get inside it. It's really not as much about the Ohio State aspect of it as it is just trying to see how they do things at pro day and just how Rand Carthon thinks about things. Trying to get some insight on, what he does. So there's a lot to it because there were prospects there who matter to the Titans. And, Deputy Mayor Vrabel, social butterfly, talking to everybody. Everybody loves Vrabel.
Maybe some conversations with the Ohio State athletic director. Who knows?
Well, let me tell you something. So, some of my buddies who cover Ohio State, we all very much enjoyed it. He's sitting there for about I don't know if it was 10 minutes, but it was maybe 7-8 minutes. Just him and Gene Smith, the Ohio State AD. It's like, okay, so and then I'm gonna need 2 cars, okay, and then remember I need all those private plane hours now, Gene. Gene,
you see that guy over there? He wrote about this one time, and neither one of us won a game since. Let's go get him.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, it's like Ryan Day's in there somewhere, like, stop talking to him, Gene. But now, as I pointed out, let's Gene Smith did used to employ Mike Vrabel.
He did, yes.
And also, if I'm Gene Smith, as an AD, I am always going to be super nice to my alums who are super rich, whether they're the head coach or not. Coming up, who are very rich and could help me with donations. But yeah, it was first of all a terrible event for media because they actually draw a little line in this corner and make you cram in there. I've never seen anything like it. I've done pro days before. You can usually walk around the field. Yeah. But there were 118 NFL reps, which I've never seen before either, at one pro day. Titans had 7 people. They had scouts. They had Tim Kelly and their new O-line coach, Hotailing. They had and Chad Brinker. Mm-hmm. And Chad Brinker is a really interesting part of this story too. I'd say beyond the pro day, I think some of the most interesting stuff here was talking to Rand Carthon about analytics and about what they're going to do. I mean, probably the biggest takeaway I would have is just the Titans are going to be very different in that way. And I know Vrabel, got a little huffy about the analytics question after the season.
Yep.
But look, the fact is the Titans have not had as fleshed out an analytics department as most other teams in the league. There was the ESPN story, which is a good idea by ESPN back near the end of the season, which was talking to analytics staffers around the league. Basically just speaking to them about which teams use it more. And I think Cleveland pretty famously at this point is the most analytics-driven team in the NFL.
Yep.
Now, you could say, right now that's not going great for them, but they've had some success. They've built rosters pretty well. The Titans, it's interesting because the Titans in that poll, for anybody who missed that story, the team the least analytically inclined, this is according to people who do analytics in the league, the Titans number 1 or number 32, however you want to look at it. They are the least according to them, and then the Washington Commanders were next worse. You don't want to be in any kind of category with them. But it's also kind of interesting, too, because I think there's 10 coaches in the league with NFL experience. But, Vrabel, and
Rivera.
Thank you.
Yep.
Ron Rivera. They're not just former players. They are, former players, right? They are,
deep in there.
Football guys. So I think I think what's going to happen here moving forward is a good injection of analytics just to help, just to have more information. Doesn't mean that, because look, part of this survey, it's a really fascinating survey, is how much in-game decision making goes to the analytics people. And this is where, I would side more with a Vrabel, with a Rivera, what I would assume, which is you know what, you're still playing a football game. Let's not turn this into baseball. Today's opening day. You know what they do in baseball? Seriously, you've got analytics to tell you what each pitch to throw.
Exactly.
Play the game.
Right.
Play the game. Use your instinct. Look at the guy. Think, you know what? I'm going to throw the heater right now. It's way too much. So I think it can be, and frankly, I don't really want my head coach just leaning too heavily on that stuff. I really don't. I think it's good to have the information. And obviously, it's changed the way. Doug Peterson and the Eagles, they changed the way people coach in this league with that run and that Super Bowl championship. Go with the percentages, be more aggressive. It's good. Yep. I like that. Anyway, I think with the Titans moving forward, they're going to have a more fleshed out analytics department. They're going to lean on it more, and possibly that could help them when it comes to personnel. And Chad Brinker has his own models. He brings them from your Packers. He's not done with them, apparently, which is interesting. So I don't know how much they helped the Packers. but
LaFleur would screw it up anyway, but yeah.
Might be a big loss. So that conversation about that stuff was probably my biggest takeaway is just, sort of the way it's like so many different aspects of trying to find players.
Yeah.
The measurables, of course, the game film, obviously that's still the most important. But also, like, they're going to have, and some of what Brinker has is injury related, which is interesting. And
which is really interesting.
Yeah, I think you can't have too much of that information, especially if you're the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, no question. Look, I think traditionally in football, like when I've thought about analytics, I've thought about, like, basically what's come to mind to me is like, oh, it's the Butch Jones chart. Like, that's what we're doing here and what he wants to do with his chart. And look, there are some in-game decisions. You brought it up. Like, we've seen, I think, and I have to go back and find the exact number. I had it a couple months ago. But we've seen a pretty dramatic increase in the last 3-4 years of teams going for it on fourth down. Like, it's become, okay, well, probabilities here. Like, if it was 4th and 2 or shorter, you could pretty much tank it to the bank that not only are the Philadelphia Eagles going for it, but they're running a quarterback sneak, and they're having their quarterback that can squat 900 pounds, get low, and have the running back coming back and pushing them in. They're going for it every time.
And everybody knows it's coming.
And everybody knows it's coming, and they can't stop it. Like, we've seen analytics change it in the NFL that way. The roster building part of it to me is really interesting because that is where I guess fans, myself, we don't think about that part of it as much when you start thinking about analytics. But I mean, take a look around other sports, whether it's Moneyball in baseball, hockey. People have analytics departments that help them build their roster that way. Like, that part of it in football is really interesting, and I do wonder, like, if you're Vrabel and you're Carthon and you're trying to put a roster together, how much are analytics going to be weighed in that as they move forward as two guys who did play the game in the NFL?
Yeah, no question. It's a lot. There's a lot of different aspects, and I mean, look at their additions. This has nothing to do with analytics, right? The free agent additions. It has a lot to do with these are good dudes that I know, and I know they'll be good in this locker room. Plus,
right.
They're players who have been on really good rosters who haven't really had the chance, and now they're going to come here at a nice price and be good players. So, I mean, that's what that is. But, yeah, all the different aspects of that are going to be interesting. And, of course, there's another component of that, which we've talked about here, but that I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but it could really be a difference maker for them down the line.
Yep, and we'll get into that coming up next. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Make sure you check out Nashville's best deal of the week from Hotworks in Gilletsville. They're open 24/7 in their infrared virtually led sauna classes. Choose from Hot Cycle, Hot Blast, Hot Thunder, Hot Yoga, Hot Bar, and more. Right now you can join for just $39 in time for their grand opening coming up on April the 1st. That's $60 off at thegamenashville.com/deals. Get more workout in less time at Hotworks. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The crowd is standing on its feet. It's in the hole! It's in the hole!
Join 102.5 The Game for the second annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament, benefiting Souls for Souls, June 7th at Hermitage Golf Course. Put your team together and come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebs.
See the ball.
Support a great cause and have loads of fun. Plus, you'll have the chance to win awesome prizes. Sign up to play, sponsor, or donate at thegamenashville.com/golf.
Michelle Knesvik here for Superbook Sports. It's opening day and baseball is back, and the push for postseason is on for hockey and hoops. Make it all count this spring with Superbook Sports. Superbook Sports is the best wagering app around with a direct line to experienced bookmakers behind the counter at the one and only Superbook in Las Vegas. We got some Final Four matchups coming up this weekend. I'm taking a look at San Diego State and FAU. I like San Diego State. I like the way they're playing right now, so I'm going to take them minus the 2 points. And also Miami and UConn. UConn a 5.5-point favorite. I'm going to take Miami plus the 5.5. I do think we will have a final matchup between UConn, though, and San Diego State. Plus, you get a $250 bonus when you sign up, deposit, and wager all in the same day. So don't let the spring pass you by without winning some money on Superbook Sports. Visit superbooksports.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Spring in and style up with huge savings on top athletic brands at your Dick's Sporting Goods warehouse sales store in Franklin. Stay active this spring with up to 70% off the athletic styles you love. Shop deals on thousands of styles from top athletic apparel and footwear brands, like $10 tees, tanks, and shorts for the family, $20 swimwear, $20 golf polos, and running footwear for $60 or less. Find incredible deals and incredible style at your Dick's Sporting Goods warehouse sales store in Franklin at Watson Glen.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Trading in or selling your car, truck, or SUV? WeBuyAnyCar.com takes the hassle out of selling in 3 easy steps. 1. Get a free online valuation. 2. Drive to your local car buying center. And 3. Walk out with a check in about an hour. So don't wait. Get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Find out how much your car's worth at We Buy Any Car.
At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. We have a team committed to helping you navigate the court system, whether you've been accused of a crime or you're going through a messy divorce and custody. Call our team to help you navigate this system. We are here to protect your rights, to demand your rights, to enforce your rights. 615-604-6263. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Does this sound familiar?
We have the worst agent in town, and we couldn't be more miserable. They showed up late to every showing, convinced us to lower the price way below market value, and let the cat in the house. We didn't even have a cat, but in the end, we never sold our house and lost our dream home. Hire our terrible agent and see the results for yourself. You'll totally regret it.
Don't let that happen. Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why we are referred so often by home buyers and sellers. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, office number 615-432-2919.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, trunk lids, license plate holders, and headlights. They've got lots of headlights. When you need parts, get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's gonna fit. eBay Motors, let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame and on Instagram at 1025thegame Nashville.
Hey!
Oh yeah, and like us on Facebook too. You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
Every morning, first thing.
On 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Join 1025 The Game for the second annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament benefiting Souls for Souls coming up on June the 7th at Hermitage Golf Course. You can put your team together and come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebs to support a great cause and have loads of fun. Plus, you'll have the chance to win awesome prizes. You can sign up to play, sponsor, or donate at thegamenashville.com/golf. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook. We are live from our 1025 The Game studio, brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. I got some tickets to give away to see Janet Jackson coming up at Bridgestone Arena on May the 4th. Be caller 5, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Caller 5 will win a pair of tickets to see Janet Jackson coming up at Bridgestone Arena on May 4th, 615-737-1025. We were discussing a piece from our very own Joe Rexrode at theathletic.com, which was written live from Pro Day in Columbus, Ohio, as he was around the Titans, Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel. We've talked about the analytics part of this, including something that you're not sure as to whether or not the Titans are going to employ this strategy moving forward, but the analytics part of this, a really interesting part of the discussion for the Titans as they move forward here.
Yeah, and another big part of this that the Titans going in this draft that they've never done before, that they will do now for the first time, is they will have the services of S2 Cognition. We've talked about S2, written about them a few times previously. These guys are Vanderbilt brain doctors. Vanderbilt brain professors. How do I properly say that? These, the guys who were Vanderbilt professors started this company, and of course, that's their entire life has been working with the brain. They decided to put this together, and so you have a much stronger way of sort of they are careful to say they don't want it to be predictive. They just want to basically show. Now some people look at things like this, take the S2 information, put it into their own models, and try to be predictive about players. But essentially, there are a lot of things that your brain processing things that have a lot to do with sports. What they do, one thing that they do, it really is, I think, predictive when it comes to hitters. Like their tests can really give you an idea of why someone's a good hitter or not, and if they'll be a good hitter or not. But S2, the Titans have been with them for a few months now, so this will be the first draft that they'll go through with them, and that is, look, it's an important part of it. It's not more important than playing the game, being have the right size and speed and all that stuff, but it can separate players for sure if you have these processing skills, these high-level processing skills, and that's what their tests do. So that's another piece of the pie, for the Titans. And now it's 2 teams per division who partner with S2. So it's been the Colts, and now it's the Colts and the Titans. So that's another part of it that's worth mentioning as something that could help them moving forward.
I thought another interesting part of your piece, I mean, obviously we kind of joked about it, but Vrabel, his popularity at Ohio State, the deputy mayor, I think is what Carthon referred to him as, but like going to an Ohio State pro day with Vrabel being there, or when Florida's pro day comes around and Rand Carthon is there, like I guess the advantage that could give the Titans in terms of having conversations with people that maybe other teams just don't have access to because they don't know these people as well as a Carthon at Florida or a Vrabel at Ohio State would know them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so a little bit. I mean, Vrabel, the strength coach there is a big part of this. I mean, the strength coach at all these schools are always very heavily involved in pro day. So they're all available to all these coaches and GMs and everything like that. But yeah, you would think that Vrabel would get a little extra intel. Obviously, they drafted Nicholas Petit-Frere from Ohio State last year, and there's 2 guys who are on the field last week who are of obvious interest. One is Paris Johnson Jr., who I'm just sitting here watching O-line drills, but I got to say,
impressive.
He looked pretty good, man.
Yes.
Yeah, looks pretty good. He could certainly be their pick at 11. And Jackson Smith and Jigba answered a lot of questions, too, about – because obviously he had the hamstring, serious hamstring that kept him out of basically most of last season. But for him to run about a 4.48, yeah. Some people had him like a 4.52, right in that range. But that's –
reminds me of myself.
Yeah.
Bulleting speed.
A couple years ago.
Unbelievable,
yeah.
A couple years ago. Once I turned 30, it went down to maybe 4.5.
Yeah, I was going to say
4.55, 4.6.
Like mid 4.5s.
Oh,
now? Yeah. That's too bad. I mean, he is he's an astounding route runner, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Now he's basically a slot receiver. So the Titans do have a slot receiver.
Well, they do. But he's played like a game and a half.
Minute.
But yes.
Yeah. But I'd be surprised if he went like that high. I think that's a reach. But who knows? I mean, the Titans could also move down, move up from the second, whatever. I mean, he's someone that you have to keep in mind. I think he could potentially be the best receiver in this draft.
What if we know that it can't happen this year? Obviously, it will happen next year where Marvin Harrison Jr. is in the draft. If he was eligible this year, where do you think he'd go?
He'd be the top non-quarterback picked. Yeah, that's everybody walked away from Ohio State Pro Day saying there's a clear best player on the field, and it was a sophomore in college. But he's that good. He's going to, like, next year he's going to. Yeah, I know there was a lot of talk over there like, this guy should have won the Blitnikoff. Like, well, I think Jalen Hyde's a pretty good winner this year. Yeah, Marvin Harrison will win it next year. Don't worry. So. And no, he's unbelievable. That's the thing, too. Like, C.J. Stroud's out there looking good, throwing good balls, but it's nice to be able to throw to, like, Jackson Smith and Jigba and Marvin Harrison Jr. and so on. But, no, he will be – yeah, I mean, he would be this year, like, whoever doesn't – the first team that doesn't need a quarterback. I mean, I guess it's possible, like, a team needs, Will Anderson or more, but very good chance he's the top non-quarterback pick next year.
Officer Watson from Clarksville says, I saw a mock draft yesterday that had Hyatt falling to us in the second round with a fingers crossed emoji. This from Officer Watson from Clarksville on the text line. I mean, if he's there at 41, I would consider it if I were the Titans.
Yeah.
Now, Tannenbaum thinks he's going 25 overall in the first round.
Tannenbaum's got all the Vols going.
He loves him some Vols for sure.
There's a lot of Vols love.
There is. I mean, I
Right
saw
now.
there's a lot of Vols love. Lewis Riddick yesterday said that Darnell Wright may be the best player in the draft. Said he's going to be a Pro Bowler, maybe an All-Pro in his first year in the league. That's what Lewis Riddick tweeted yesterday. I was like,
goodness.
geez, all right.
My goodness.
I mean, look, Darnell Wright was really good last year, and like you said, made himself a lot of money in that Alabama game. But I was like, really, best player in the draft, Darnell Wright? Okay.
Yeah. Hey, it's take season.
Lewis Riddick knows more than me.
I trust Lewis Riddick. Hey, real quick, I just want to make sure to get the information correct. It's Brandon Alley and Scott Wiley are the two Vanderbilt professors. One worked with patients with Parkinson's, one with Alzheimer's. So they studied the brain their entire lives, and they decided to turn into this business, which is the S2 score. If you got an S2 score like Joe Burrow's got, kind of tells you a little something. Bryce Young, another guy, good S2 score. Let's see what he does in the NFL. I bet you it's pretty good.
I wonder what ours would be.
I took these tests.
did
And
you?
it actually makes I took all their tests. I wrote about these guys a couple years ago, and it actually made me feel better about my failed athletic career. It totally explains things. I was awful.
That was the reason. Just that.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's also lack of athleticism, but when I took these tests, I was like, okay, now I kind of get it a little bit more. Right. Yeah. No, they're really hard. Yeah, I bet you we could probably get you guys in there and take these tests.
Hey, let's do it.
It's fun. It's sobering. It's humbling for sure.
John in Thompson Station says, do any players decide not to take the S2 test? It seems like it could really help someone like Anthony Richardson's draft stock if he scored high. I saw where he's visiting the Titans sometime soon. This is from John in Thompson Station.
Good question. I've not heard of it being declined, because obviously people have gone, it's a totally different thing, but like the Wonderlic is one of those things that have been. Yeah. Usually what it is if someone scores terribly, then it leaks out, But this is not that. That's that's almost like an IQ test. It's like weird questions and stuff.
There was so much conversation around here about the Wonderlic test when Vince Young was around here. It's like, goodness gracious.
Right. Yeah, and again, that's just so much less directly relevant to the field. But this stuff is I think it can and will, hurt players who don't score as well. These guys gave me an example. They didn't give me names, but two safeties. I know we got to go to break, but two safeties, one of which had way better measurables than the other. But the S2 testing was way off the charts for one, and it was not good for the one who, by all measures of traditional football, should be way better player than this other guy.
Yeah.
The other guy is, like a Pro Bowl level player because the S2 test told you, the processing of information is so, and that's safety is one of those positions where safety and quarterback are probably the top two positions of where it really matters and can translate.
Yep, 615-737-1025. We'll have more on the NFL draft and your thoughts on that coming up next, including some hot taking on the quarterbacks going on and continuing yesterday that I saw. More on that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
I think it's a really good move.
TD, it's never the offseason for ESPN's Teron Davenport.
I mean, that's something you obviously have to look at.
He's always talking about what's next for the Tennessee Titans.
Quarterback is a really important thing that they have to get determined.
Check out TD, Mondays at 1, Thursdays at 3, and Friday mornings at 8:30. Plus, the Talkin' with TD podcast.
Looking forward to that.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3, The Game.
Hey, folks, the tournament heating up, and there's no better place to get on the action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now FanDuel is giving new customers a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Just go to FanDuel.com/Joe102. Sign up today to claim your no-sweat first bet. Then you can wager on everything from the money line to point spreads to which teams will be cutting down the nets. Personally, I think San Diego State and UConn are going to meet for the national championship. I don't know why I keep disrespecting FAU. If it's FAU Miami, I'm not going to be that surprised, but I do feel pretty good about UConn cutting down the nets eventually. So take that for what it's worth. Do this all on an app that's safe, secure, super easy to use. Don't miss your shot at a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Again, go to FanDuel.com/Joe102 to sign up. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager, only $10 deposit required. Refund issued. Discount withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
This week at the Electronic Express Markdown Mania event, get instant savings of up to 40% off in every department, including all 4K TVs, laptops and tablets, housewares, gaming consoles, speakers, and more. At Electronic Express, we have up to 50% off all your appliance needs in stock and ready to deliver. Plus, buy now, pay later with up to 3 years free financing. Shop the Markdown Mania sales event at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Men, this is Evan Bass with the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and I've been helping men with sexual health issues for many years. I've seen the pain and anxiety that men walk into the clinic with when erectile dysfunction is affecting them. And I also know the heartache and difficulty it can bring to their partner. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've been successfully treating men for ED for many years now. We've seen the amazing impacts that those treatments have on a man's confidence and positivity. And we've seen the wonderful things those treatments also do for a man's relationship. That's why I'm pleased to announce that we are now offering the same great services we offer at our Nashville clinic at our new location in Franklin, which will make it much more convenient for those men living south of Nashville to get treated. So call us today and book your appointment at our Midtown location or at our new clinic in Cool Springs. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatment sex results vary.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When you want live and local,
if they were just better at the offensive line,
you could be a contender in the AFC again.
They've had more winning seasons than not. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game has you covered. Looking for some national programming?
Why do I want to get a running back like that 5 more years?
The AFC now is so deep at quarterback.
Check out 94.9 The Fan. Nashville's home for all things sports is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Hey, this is Ryan Johansson. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Join 102.5 The Game and the Preds Energy Team at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs tonight for the Preds Road Watch Party as the Preds take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. You can stop by and enjoy Brewhouse South's 70 beers on tap, classic American menu, along with Cajun Southwestern Island comfort food. That's 102.5 The Game and the Preds Energy Team at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. Looking forward to that tonight as the Predators take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Also, make sure you tune in later this morning at 8:45 for your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click and win a pair of tickets to a future Preds home game. Pick to Click brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they're referred to so often. And Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. We'll have Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports coming up at 8 o'clock. Right now, taking your thoughts on the NFL and the Titans. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. Joe, you sent us something yesterday from Chad Forbes, which is at NFL Draft Bites on Twitter, says, and this was his tweet yesterday, Will Levis is bombing interviews. Arrogance, entitlement, plus just bizarre was a quote that somebody told him. 24 years old, should be far ahead of guys that are graduated from high school in the pandemic 25 months ago. Stroud, Richardson, Why didn't he beat out Sean Clifford? Levis could go day 2. We've seen whether it's going day 2 or not. One consistent thing that I have seen lately is whether it's like a Kuiper mock draft or it's really anybody other than Tannenbaum's mock draft that had him at number 4, he is sliding. And we talked about a CBS Sports mock draft that came out earlier this week that had Levis all the way down at 18 with the Rams trading up to go get him at that point. So, I mean, look, mock drafts are not the end-all, be-all. We know that. Like, we know that they're not written in stone or anything. But when like one guy consistently starts sliding around the board, like I do put some stock into that because that tells me that there's been some conversations that these people have had that don't really lend itself well to Will Levis being drafted in the top 5 anymore. So the Levis sliding in all these mock drafts is pretty interesting to me that way, and it tells me that at least to some degree there have been some conversations that would suggest that teams may not be all that high on Will Levis right now.
Yeah, some of this stuff you have to be careful because there is misinformation, and there's
100%.
One team might be like, "Oh man, I can't stand that guy."
I mean, up until the week before the draft last year, there were some reports out there that Malik Willis could go number 2. So
right, yeah, there's both ways. There's misinformation. This does seem like there's more than one team that hasn't been impressed with him. So now all it takes is one team to say, I don't care what you guys think. We had a great interview with him, and he's our quarterback at number 4 or whatever.
Right.
But I think this has gotten to the point where you don't just ignore it like he must not be helping himself, which is crazy to me. Like, that like it's hard to you really have to screw it up, in these situations. But I mean, hey, teams also are picking at every little thing about these players. Obviously,
maybe it's just the mayo.
About it. Well, it could be. I mean, I would have a little bit of a problem with someone
really?
who
Put that in your coffee.
Yeah, when you sent that yesterday, I just thought it was like really weird. Just because I know a lot of people who cover the team, and that's never been a
thing.
A thing, which usually, like if you cover that beat, you get to know them in the locker room, press conferences, and things like that. But yeah, I was like kind of shocked when you sent that.
Yeah, like the thing about Clifford, that's dumb to me. Like that's going way back to Penn State, and Clifford's was in trend. Clifford's a good college quarterback. I mean, just Will Levis is just more talented, more directly translates to the NFL. But that one doesn't matter too much. And why isn't he ahead in age? Yeah, I mean, I guess that's fine. I mean, I guess that's fair. I also think that last year it was tough for him given the offensive line situation there. So, but yeah, it's surprising to hear about this stuff. I mean, I covered a quarterback who was very, very. There was a lot of questions about that with him coming out, and it wasn't that much. It wasn't too much around like the team, but it ended up being something that really hurt him in the draft. So it does happen.
John on the text line says he probably ate an unpeeled banana while drinking mayo coffee in front of the interviewer. Maybe that was it. He's oh man, we can't do this. It's a lot.
I mean,
I would to unpack.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely if I was conducting an interview of the team, I would definitely be asking about that.
Like, what's in the mayo and the coffee, man?
What's wrong with you? And then see how he reacted to that. Maybe he didn't react well.
Cody on the text line says, I would love for the Titans to get Anthony Richardson at number 11, let go of Malik Willis, allow Anthony Richardson to have a year behind Tannehill. The talent that Richardson has is generational. This is from Cody on the text line.
Well, Mike Tannenbaum says that's
exactly
what they're going to do. Look, man.
If he's there, I mean, I would think about it.
Look, I mean, it's if they believe that he is going to be that guy, do it.
Yeah.
I don't know that he won't be. I'd be afraid. I'm afraid of players who don't consistently perform at the level below this. But it doesn't mean that they can't turn into really good players. And by the way, the Titans, according to Jordan Schultz, has not just the pro day, but of course we just talked about Rand Carthon, as he told me in that piece. I know a couple people down in Gainesville. Got a little intel, so a little extra insight maybe for him and a Florida player such as Anthony Richardson. but he has visits with the following teams after the pro day in Gainesville: Panthers, Colts, Titans, Falcons, Ravens, Raiders.
Yep.
Pretty interesting.
The Ravens is interesting there.
Yeah, well, they may be looking around here.
It may be. By the way, Tennessee's pro day today as well. So the Vols pro day taking place today.
According to Karski, Vrabel in Knoxville, and of course Rand will be
down there in Florida.
Yeah. So we'll see if
everybody
loves Vrabel over in Knoxville as much as they did last week in Columbus.
Maybe Vrabel falls in love with is Louis Riddick going to be at Tennessee's pro day today? He's like, oh, Darnell Wright, maybe. Maybe so. Look, Darnell Wright has, in all seriousness, of all the Vols out there, he's done really well for himself in the last couple of months. He's going to be a pretty high first-round pick.
Yeah. Well, it's a big loss for them, by the way. And remember, Darnell Wright was the left tackle there because, it's like, your most talented player making a left tackle. Well, he's a right tackle. And he's an NFL right tackle. And I think a lot of people who are all over him probably are just watching the Alabama game, which, again, was kind of stunning to just see Will Anderson look like some average player out there for an entire football game.
By the way, take another free agent wide receiver off the board as for options for the Tennessee Titans. Marvin Jones Jr., who was with Jacksonville, going back home to the Detroit Lions. Wow. A 1-year, $3 million contract that can be worth up to $5 million. But the active offseason continues for the Detroit Lions. Marvin Jones returning to Detroit on a 1-year deal.
A mighty team that will not yield. Thank you. That's going to make all the difference for the Lions. All the difference. Marvin Jones in this stage. He was a good player for them previously. And for the Jags, I'm sure they're like, Marvin, thank you. Calvin, come on in.
You're putting some haterade out there, man. The Lions have had a great offseason. They're the betting favorite. We talked about this the other day. The betting favorite to win the NFC North. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's going to be funny. It's going to be funny. Again, what happened this year, everybody picked them to go to the playoffs. Not everybody, but some people.
They were right there. They were close.
But they didn't get there, did they?
They did not.
They celebrated keeping the Packers out. That's what the Lions are.
Well, that is a celebration.
Okay. But I mean, if that's the best thing that you have to celebrate, what are you? So next year they're going to go 8-9. They're going to be a huge disappointment. It's going to be hilarious.
You want to hear something that is going to make you laugh immediately? Let's the FanDuel Sportsbook odds for the NFC Championship winner. Number 1, the San Francisco 49ers at plus 350.
Okay.
They're tied with Philadelphia. So San Francisco and Philadelphia tied at 350. Dallas at plus 650. At number 4, the Detroit Lions at plus 900. Fourth best odds in the NFC to win the NFC Championship.
If that doesn't tell you the AFC, and the AFC is the SEC, and the NFC is Conference USA.
Mountain West.
Pac-12.
Yeah, well.
Overrated.
I mean, wow.
By the way, New Orleans at number 5 with Derek Carr coming in. Number 5 to win the NFC Championship. It's pretty amazing.
I don't even know what to say. That the Lions fourth. Oh.
615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, it's time for the Rob Rant here on Robby and Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45 here on the program. We will do that coming up next. Make sure you join 1025 The Game and the Preds Energy Team at the Rusty Nail in Hermitage on Monday, April the 3rd for the Preds Road Watch Party as the Preds take on the Dallas Stars. You can enjoy $3 2-lane beer drafts, a great local atmosphere with a large outdoor patio and volleyball courts. Plus, try some of their great food, especially the wings. That's the 1025 The Game and the Preds Energy Team at Rusty Nail coming up on Monday, April 3rd. We will see you there. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063 The Game.
We are your home for every big pass.
Kevin Harvick takes over the race lead.
Big wreck.
Trouble turn 2. One car is around and hard into the outside wall.
And big win.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has won the Daytona 500.
Yeah! Woo!
Catch every lap of NASCAR on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Now that you've taken on that big job, you shouldn't have to settle for the big box. You've earned a trip to Northern Tool, and we're ready for the details. We know all about the little things that make the biggest difference. Maybe that's why they call us a problem solver's paradise. From pressure washers to power tools, pallet jacks to push carts, Northern Tool and Equipment carries the brands you depend on, like North Star, DeWalt, Milwaukee, and Strongway. We're made for this. Come see us in store or shop online at northerntool.com.
We pride ourselves on being transparent, opening up the books, and sharing all the secrets of the diamond industry. We have a passion for this, and part of having a passion is sharing that passion.
Genesis Diamonds Vice President David Cooper says, at Genesis, you don't just get an entry-level course in diamonds, you get a PhD.
We love educating our customers, even over-educating our customers about diamonds and gemstones, so they can truly see the difference in what we offer.
At Genesis, diamonds are not a side business. It's their only business.
We eat, breathe, and sleep diamonds.
So whether you end up buying at Genesis or not, come for the education.
The better educated we can make you at Genesis Diamonds, the better a shopper you're going to be, whether you shop with us or anyone else. You will be able to tell the difference and know what you are buying, so you make the best decision for you.
Genesis Diamonds, proud to offer one of the largest selections of GIA-certified diamonds in the nation, with no middleman markups, no retail pricing games, no commission salespeople, and no nonsense. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Social Furniture's Spring Home Makeover Sales event is going on now with the latest styles and colors in stock, ready for immediate delivery and setup. If you don't need a fancy schmancy showroom or the stress of a high-pressure sales team, but you don't want to pay high-quality prices, come to Social Furniture. All top-quality furniture and mattresses are on sale now. Don't miss this Extreme Home Makeover Sales event that's going on now at Social Furniture.
I shop at Social Furniture because of the way I'm treated.
That's Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue. Sometimes the best part of the day is when the day is done. The Rusty Nail in Hermitage has been the best part of the day for many since their doors opened. They provide a great local atmosphere with a big back patio and volleyball courts, plus great drinks like $3 2-lane beer drafts and great food, especially the wings. Call now to reserve your private events or corporate parties, or simply call up a few old pals and tell them to meet you down at the Rusty Nail. See you there. Cheers.
Progressive asks, what do a diehard fan watching the game at home?
With 4 seconds left.
A poorly placed good luck candle.
Don't let me down, Candle. Kick is up.
A last-second improbable win.
It's good! Yes!
And flammable sports-themed curtains have in common?
Oh, jeez, whoa!
They can scorch your big win high and your beloved sports memorabilia.
Not my unwashed 1997 game-worn jersey! This is what dreams are made of!
Bundle your home and auto with Progressive for great savings and round-the-clock protection. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations. They talk sports.
The Predators get the 2 points, which is obviously what they needed.
They're not making big moves that are jaw-dropping signings in free agency.
They talk life.
Well, I almost just fell down the stairs, so there's that.
My backpack was so heavy, the seatbelt alarm was going off the entire trip.
But most of all, they have a good time.
Here or there.
Yeah.
Chase and Michelle, weekday mornings at 9 on 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode.
It's part of this nutritious breakfast.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Don't make me angry.
Sometimes you have to tell someone to pound sand.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
This is the Rob Rant. Now on Robby and Rexrode.
Another thing, stop playing us, man. We the Detroit Lions. We the Detroit Lions. Stop playing with us. I don't even watch TV, but I heard everybody already picked the Packers over us. Stop playing with us. That's all I gotta say, man. Don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
That was Lions great Jamal Williams after the takedown of the Packers. Now, Jamal Williams, unfortunately, has moved on, and now he's with the New Orleans Saints. So Lions don't have any of that energy left around there, but they are the number 4 team with the odds to win the NFC title. So how about that?
And seriously, it's a huge loss. Love that guy.
Me too.
Love his energy.
Yeah.
Love his energy.
Former Packer, Jamal Williams.
Now former Lion.
Lions
Current
New Orleans Saint. So we'll see what happens on that front. Today, for me, it's I guess less of a rant, but more of a congratulations for an organizations to fix something that I've long complained about in the world of sports. We talked about this to begin the show, Joe. It is opening day in Major League Baseball, and there was a time in my life where that was a very exciting day, and quite frankly, the last few years, just hadn't really cared. Like, okay, it's opening day in Major League Baseball. I just don't really care all that much anymore. And one of the reasons I think that baseball has become something that, quite frankly, I don't pay as much attention to as I used to is because it takes forever to watch these games take place. And, you know, we've seen the reports out there. I mean, there have been some 4-hour games. You know, they've taken some steps in extra innings to try to prevent the, 17 or 18 inning games that we used to see a few times throughout the years. And all those things have been great. But I've always said, with the world being what it is now and with the younger generation coming up, the attention span, quite frankly, just isn't what it used to be. And baseball was going to have to do something to address that problem. And I want to send a congratulations to Major League Baseball for at least taking some steps to maybe help us get there. And I know some people really don't like what baseball is doing. Like the baseball purists aren't a huge fan of it. And I understand that. But I applaud the attempt by Major League Baseball to try to speed up the game a little bit. And they're doing that in a few different ways. We've seen it throughout spring training. And today is going to be the first day of real action where all these things are enforced. But the shift, you're now allowed, you got to have 2 guys on one side of second base, 2 guys on the other side of second base, and they got to be in the infield dirt. So basically eliminating the shift in Major League Baseball. There's the pitch clock that's coming into play where pitchers will have 15 seconds to throw a pitch with the bases empty and 20 seconds when there's a runner on base. Hitters have to be in the batter's box with by 8 seconds left on the pitch clock. So trying to speed up the game that way. The pickoffs, which that may be the one that used to drive me the most nuts, is like when somebody is a threat to steal the base, you would throw over like 28 times per batter to keep the guy close on the base pass. Now you have basically 2 disengagements per batter that they're calling it on the pickoff rules in Major League Baseball. They've increased the size of the bases, which I don't know what that's going to mean, but it's gone from 15 inches to 18 inches. So take that, whatever you will. So I like that Major League Baseball is at least recognizing that they've got to do something about pace of play. And we've talked about this, like Major League Baseball, the pace of play is not the only thing where that's been a problem. I mean, how many college football games have we watched where it's like, oh my gosh, this has been going on for 4 hours and 25 minutes. Somebody's got to do something about this. I don't know how all this is going to work. I don't know how big of an adjustment this is going to be. Like I said, I know that like some traditional baseball fans are mad that they're putting in the pitch clock and that they're, limiting pickoffs and taking away the shift, like adding rules in that take away from what we've traditionally seen in baseball. And I get all that. They tried most of this last year in AAA, and it was interesting. Jeff Him was on with Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace yesterday, and he was talking about the pitch clock, and he's like, I love it. Like, I was kind of skeptical about it at first, but the pace of play is affected dramatically because, I mean, the batter getting in there messing with his gloves and a minute in between pitches, that adds up over the course of a baseball game. So that's a long way of me saying I am very happy that Major League Baseball is deciding to address something that I think has been a problem for a long time. And I do wonder if this affects the pace of play pretty dramatically, how much that could help their viewership as they move forward here.
I like the clock stuff too. I think that's good, makes sense, worth a shot. I hate stuff like banning the shift. I don't see let people go put 4 people in center field. I don't give a crap. I don't like that.
I have mixed feelings on that one just because like I understand what they're trying to do. Like the batting average league-wide last year, and I have the numbers in front of me. The batting average league-wide last year was 243. That was the lowest since 1968. So you're talking about, I mean, nobody's getting on base. It's like hitting home runs or you're striking out.
Home run, strikeout.
So the batting average was atrocious last year. And look, it's like any other sport. Nobody wants to watch a 2-0 baseball game 162 times a year. So I get what they're trying to do that way, but I've always also said, like, if you don't like somebody putting the shift on you, learn how to hit the ball the opposite side of the field.
Exactly. Spray the ball over the field, man. Right. Yeah. No, I mean, that's – so I think that's just like – and again, we talked about this earlier on the show, like talk about a sport where I think analytics is overtaking it too much. I think baseball is absolutely that. Stuff like that. And even honestly, I'm torn on the pickoff thing because there's times when you've got a huge situation and you've got 100 base stealer, and it's a one-run game, and you cannot let him get to second. And I think in those situations that becomes a cat and mouse. That's a huge part of the game, and now you've taken that out, and I think it's a huge advantage for the runner in that situation. So, but I'm also with you. There are times when it's like, you don't need the 7th pickoff. You don't need the 7th throw over to first.
I agree, but to that point, let's say you disengage twice. Well, now the runner knows that you can't do it again without a penalty being enforced, which I believe is a balk.
Right.
So if I'm that runner, as soon as you move, I am gone. I am taking off.
Exactly. It's a huge advantage for the runner in a situation like that. So I don't really like that either, but that's a tough one because it really does. It can pile up. I mean, in games, in close games with a team that's a really good running team, that can add up the time, but at the same time, it's part of baseball.
Yeah.
I struggle with that one.
Tyler on the text line says, the baseball purist can pound sand. As somebody who has to be at 75 Sounds games 2 hours early each year, get me home sooner, any way possible. Kyle on the text line says, leave baseball alone, in all capital letters. And Cody says, Nomar Garciaparra is sitting somewhere mad as heck. Man, Nomar couldn't play nowadays. If they had that pitch clock and he couldn't step out of the box and rearrange his batting gloves in between every pitch, there's no way he could do it.
Love some Nomar.
That used to drive me nuts.
Love some Nomar Garciaparra.
I mean, I like him, but my goodness.
Yeah.
After every pitch, let's just take the batting glove off and let's put it back on. Get in the box, man. What are you doing?
Yeah. I'm kind of more with Kyle, but except I like the clock because there's just too much lollygagging. Too much lollygagging.
Need to speed it up.
Can't be lollygagging out there. No question about that. 615-737-1025. This has been the Rob Rant. You can check it out every morning at 7:45 here on the program. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports. We'll get his thoughts on all things NFL and the Tennessee Titans as well. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
All the big plays. All the big stories.
If you're not ready to play in this league, you will lose. I don't care who you're playing.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Because I love the sport.
We played the way we needed to.
Why would he make that move?
360, he slams it home.
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Time for the Preds Report.
Presented by Newton Nissan.
The Nashville Predators celebrated a miraculous victory over the Boston Bruins on Tuesday night as they handed the Bruins only their 12th regulation loss of the year. The Bruins seem en route to breaking the NHL record for the best regular season mark compiled ever in NHL history. They arrived early yesterday morning. Penguins currently holding the second and final wildcard playoff position in the Eastern Conference. They have a 3-point edge on the Florida Panthers. The Predators, meanwhile, got some help as the Winnipeg Jets lost in San Jose, so the Predators now 3 points behind the Winnipeg Jets, but they also need to leapfrog the Calgary Flames. Predators and Penguins tonight. Pre-game show is at 5 o'clock. Join us for the face-off. Hal Gill and I will have all the action for you beginning at 6 o'clock on the Fifth Third Bank Nashville Predators Radio Network.
All the best car deals in Smashville start at Newton Nissan. Visit them at Newton Nissan of Gallatin or Newton Nissan South in Shelbyville.
This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Did you know trading in your car at a dealer could cost you money? A recent study found consumers who trade in their car pay an average of $990 more. So don't trade in. Sell it to We Buy Any Car. Learn more and get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Find out how much your car's worth at We Buy Any Car.
Preds fans, Superbook wants to send one lucky fan a pair of tickets on the ice. Text the keyword Superbook, all one word, to 615-737-1025 for entry to win.
Welcome to Smashville, home of the biggest hits in hockey and the loudest parties on Broadway. Join us at Bridgestone Arena Saturday, April 1st as your Nashville Predators take on the St. Louis Blues for a Saturday afternoon party in Smashville. Arrive early for the Nashville Predators Plaza Party, presented by Dr. Pepper, starting at 10 a.m. And don't forget, puck drop is at 12 p.m. Purchase your tickets today at NashvillePredators.com/tickets. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Let's go, Preds!
The college basketball season is heating up, which means it's time for the Wendy's Wooden Watch. You see, in 2002, I was honored to have received the John R. Wooden Player of the Year Award, which is presented to the country's most outstanding men's and women's player, who is also making progress towards earning a degree. This year, players like Drew Timme, Armando Bacot, Aaliyah Boston, and Caitlin Clark are vying for the trophy. So who will take it home? The 2023 John R. Wooden Men's and Women's Player of the Year is presented by Wendy's.
Wendy's 2 for $6 lets you mix and match some of our best items, like Dave Single with a 10-piece crispy nugs, medium strawberry lemonade with a spicy chicken sandwich, spicy chicken with a Dave Single with a strawberry lemonade, strawberry lemonade, if you're into that. Chicken Sam, crispy nugs, strawberry lemonade, Dave's, nugs, Sam. Whew. Pick what you want at a price you want. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's 2 for $6. For a limited time, price participation may vary at U.S. Wendy's. On the card only. Single item at regular price.
Your Game Center update.
I'm Michelle Knezovic, and opening day is upon us for the first time since 1968. All 30 teams will play their first games today. The Nashville Predators will continue their road trip tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Puck drop will be at 6 p.m., and our pregame coverage will start at 5 p.m. on 102.5 The Game. The Nashville Predators are coming off a big win in Boston, and Luke Evangelista joined Chase and Michelle yesterday to discuss his time so far in the NHL.
Yeah, I mean, it's been the best experience of my life, basically. Like, I'm still, I'm just living out a dream right now. I've wanted this ever since I was a kid, and I'm so fortunate to be in the position that I'm in, and grateful for the opportunity. And I still just got to keep earning my spot. Obviously with all the movement and trades and injuries and all that stuff, there's an opportunity for the young guys here in Nashville. And
the Memphis Grizzlies fell to the LA Clippers yesterday, 141-132, but still sit in second in the Western Conference at 48-28. This report is presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. I'm Michelle Knezovic for 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gunny performance.
Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Thursday morning. And as we do every Thursday morning from 8 to 8:30, we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcome in our friend Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports, brought to you by the NFL Alumni Association. Charles, good morning. How are you?
What's going on, gentlemen? How you doing this morning?
We're awesome. Appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning. So, Charles, the Aaron Rodgers situation. Obviously, still no trade completed between the Packers and the Jets. We saw Rodgers and his comments on the McAfee show a couple of weeks ago. Brian Gutekunst speaking earlier this week at the NFL owners' meetings. What's the latest on that situation that you've been able to glean, and what do you think the holdup is right now between the Packers and the Jets?
Well, the holdup is basically you have the Jets want 2 seasons out of Aaron Rodgers. And, I think they've gotten into a zone where the draft compensation between the two sides, people are starting to get more comfortable with it. When I was at the owners' meetings in Phoenix, basically what I was told was there are 2 second-round picks on the table from the Jets. And it would be 1 in 2023, 1 in 2024. The 1 in 2024 could graduate to a first-round pick, depending on how the Jets' 2023 season unfolded. And, that would basically satisfy the Packers wanting to get at least a first-round pick out of Aaron Rodgers at this stage. But it was interesting. A wrinkle that developed was, once they started talking compensation, Aaron Rodgers went on the Pat McAfee show. This was after the Jets and the Packers had started talking compensation, and a first-round pick had been on the table. And then Aaron Rodgers says the thing about, well, I was 90% retired when I went into this darkness retreat. Well, it caused some of the Jets to sit up in their seats and go, wait a minute, you were 90% retired when you went into this darkness retreat? Do we want to give up a first-round pick for this guy? Because this sounds like, this might only be a one-year, deal that we're doing. And it created a problem, basically. So you had the two sides that then the Jets are basically saying, look, we want him in 2024. We don't just want him in 2023. So if you get your first and second round pick, or maybe it's just 2 second-round picks out of this, and then he retires, he hangs it up, and we don't get him in 2024, we want something back from you then. Basically a give back in some form of probably draft compensation in the 2025 draft. Well, that's been a sticking point. So that's been the sort of fly in the ointment at this point is the two sides wrangling over that. But I feel like so much is out there now that, especially when you talk to people the last 24, 48 hours, it feels like this is getting closer to being done. And remember, April 17th, the off-season workout program starts, and Aaron Rodgers wants to show up. He can show up. And I asked Matt LaFleur about that, and he's like, I'm staying out of the whole thing between these two general managers, and I'm just going to coach whoever's on the team. And, I just don't think they want to even approach the awkwardness of, if Aaron Rodgers has his nose out of joint enough, would he actually show up for the workout program in April 17th when it's so clear that they don't want him to?
Speaking of quarterback awkwardness, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
What can be done here to help this guy?
I think he should. I think he needs to stop talking to normal people. Like, I hate to say that, but he keeps going on social media and interacting with normal people. And I'm not talking about just these, he'll put out tweets where he talks about his state of mind or whatever. If you click on the tweets and replies button, and you will see he's delving into, I guess what you could say at this point, considering he's going through a potential contract negotiation, sensitive stuff with Joe Schmo. It's like my brother, going at Lamar Jackson and then starting up a dialogue with my brother who has no business talking to this quarterback who's trying to, nail down a $200 million plus deal. But I think it's interesting because the latest thing now is he delved a little more deeply into this injury last season and basically just laying out how serious it really was, which is fine, except that, again, he's negging himself in this situation. If you keep telling people, hey, I shut it down last year because my injury was really serious and this is why I missed the remainder of the season in that playoff game, I'm like, okay, well, that's disincentivizing teams to give you the long-term contract that you want, because they're sitting there looking and saying, well, it's 2 straight years of injuries. This is a depreciating asset in your game. And we're getting to that point where, once you enter year 6, 7, quarterbacks that run the way that he does, and this is going to happen with Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts and all these other guys, it really starts to slide pretty dramatically sometimes in year 6 and beyond. Well, don't go on Twitter and start talking to, like I said, Joe Schmo, telling them, hey, yeah, I was really injured last year. That's not going to get owners to sit there and go, yeah, let's give this guy this massive contract. And, oh, by the way, draft assets to the Baltimore Ravens at this stage to get this done. I feel like the more he talks, the further away this gets. And at this point, unless I think a team comes out of the draft and had quarterback plans and somehow they took a hard left turn and they absolutely did not get any kind of resolution at the quarterback position, then maybe that opens an outside market for him. But even then, I still think the contract compensation and the draft pick compensation has just pushed him further and further away from actually having any kind of a market, and that's what we're seeing right now. So to me, he probably sits out. I would guess he sits out this offseason, doesn't sign the tag until July, and then I'm surprised that Baltimore is not higher in the rankings when you talk about the betting right now in terms of his next team, because I don't know that there's really an easy path outside of the franchise right now for him.
Charles, we talked to you about, kind of looking ahead to the NFL owners meetings, and one thing you brought up was Robert Kraft and the New England Patriots and some of the comments that he made last year. Well, this year he talked about how disappointed he was in this season. Obviously, a lot of conversation around Mac Jones right now. What do you make of the Patriots situation, how Belichick fits into all this, and the Belichick-Robert Kraft dynamic?
Well, it's interesting, and Dan Wetzel, our national columnist, kind of wrote on this. You've now seen more of an embrace in the last 12 months by Bill Belichick to look backward at success, and he made this comment, I'm paraphrasing here, where someone asked him, why should fans be, confident about the direction of the team? And Bill said something like, the last 25 years. And it's interesting to hear him say that, because that's not I'll give you an example. When you sit down and you talk to a player and you say, well, hey man, we're looking at your deal here. You're slated to make X amount. Why should we be confident that, you're going to be worth that? Your last couple of years have been pretty bad. And the player goes, well, what about my first 5 years? That's not exactly how general managers, and especially Bill Belichick, tends to operate. Go, hey, you got a good point. Those first 5 years, really, even though you've slid backwards the last couple of years, you're still worth this out. No, that's not at all how it works. And yet, that's kind of how he is starting to talk, which is unusual. And I think now, I said that stuff about Kraft. Well, he doubled down on it. He came out again, and he, again, paraphrasing here, but he basically said, we're about winning. And yeah, I have some concern about what's going on right now because of, what's happened the last few seasons, and Mac Jones, obviously. Belichick would be on the hot seat in 2023. I still don't think that's a reality. However, I think if 2023, Bill O'Brien comes in an offensive coordinator, if 2023 looks like 2022, which was a disaster for Mac Jones, then I think going into 2024, now I think you're starting to look at a situation where it's like, okay, Robert Kraft is probably going to measure the future of Bill Belichick in 2024, because you can only have so many seasons where at some point you start to realistically question how much stuff was Tom Brady covering up, and if it wasn't that, maybe Bill's just starting to lose it. Maybe he just doesn't have his fastball anymore as a head coach. I know people are going to say that's crazy, but you know what? Tom Landry was a great coach until he wasn't. And Bill Belichick is getting deeper into his 70s, and there may just be a reality that the rest of the league caught up to some of the things the Patriots were doing to get a little edge, and they haven't been able to, find a quarterback who can cover up for some of those weak spots. And yeah, I think this is real. I think this pressure on Bill, 2023 is going to be a really, really important season for him.
We'll have more with Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
185! Every team needs a quarterback. 185! Take! That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown!
Tim.
You can run good plays at the right time.
ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
You evaluate players, and then you're turning them over to the coaching staff.
Every Tuesday at noon.
At the right time.
With Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Tim on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, TJ Anderson here. With real estate listings, you have to read between the lines. Like waterfront property, more like a mosquito farm. Pride of ownership, they're really proud of the DIY job they did. Seller says sell, Really? I thought they just put it on the market for fun. My team at TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty is ready to help both home buyers and sellers decode the market. Oh, and if it says don't let this one pass you by, it's probably on wheels. Google TJ Anderson Homes, read our reviews, and see why we are referred for a reason. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, 615-432-2919.
It's that time of year, the insanity, the madness, the tournament. Your friends showing up at your house to watch the games and eat all your food. You want to be a good host, but you don't want total chaos. And Central Barbecue has the solution. Bulk order some slow smoked barbecue and pick it up right before tip-off. Stop by either Nashville location or place an order at eatcbq.com. This year, show your friends you care about them. Feed them Central Barbecue. 2 locations in Hillsboro and Capitol View. Smoke is our sauce.
It's electric in Smashville. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 429 has a new path to a dignified career. Local 429 is accepting applications for the highest skilled electricians and linemen and is providing the best training in Middle Tennessee. They are the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 429. Call them at 615-889-4429 or go online to ibew429.org. IBEW Local 429, your proud 7th man since the beginning. Go Preds!
Coration CBD products. Coration began as our family's mission to provide the Nashville community with locally and organically sourced CBD products. We are passionate about providing high-quality CBD products for everyday use. Tinctures, topicals, and pet products too. We are a Pick 10 company. Our hemp is organically grown and produced in Nashville, Tennessee from sustainably sourced non-GMO genetics. All of our products are lab tested. Find all of our products at CorationCompany.com.
Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota compact tractors, rated #1 in durability and owner experience. They're designed for easy operation and feature performance-matched attachments. Right now, put 0 down and get 0% APR for up to 72 months, plus save up to $800 on select equipment. Now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit Coleman Tractor Company, your local Kubota dealer in Clarksville, Nashville, Paris, and White House today. This week's Nashville's best deal is the all-new Hot Works Goodlettsville off Long Hollow Pike. Right now, join for just $39 in time for their grand opening April 1st. That's $60 off at thegamenashville.com/deals. Hot Works offers 24/7 infrared fitness in 15 and 30-minute virtually led sauna sessions. Get more workout in less time at Hot Works. And right now, save $60 on enrollment at thegamenashville.com/deals.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We continue our conversation with Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports, brought to you by the NFL Alumni Association. Joe Rexrode, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Yeah, Charles, I wanted to get into something we've been talking about earlier in the show. Went to Ohio State's Pro Day, kind of, trying to track Rand Carthon and got into some stuff about, player evaluation. And one thing certainly the Titans are changing is more reliance on analytics, and of course that can mean a lot of different things. But first of all, just your view of, I guess, the Titans relative to the rest of the league when it comes to analytics. And again, that's in game is one thing, and and then there's of course player evaluation. I hear you laughing, so I'm looking forward to this answer. But also, do you feel like it's changing dramatically?
Well, geez, they haven't had a reputation when it's come to analytics at all, have they?
They have not.
Not much.
I mean, there haven't been any negative things said about the Titans the last couple of years. It's unfortunately every time you would see kind of the anytime someone would roll out sort of a chart and go, okay, let's kind of look how we measure the league and where teams are when it comes to analytics. Yeah, the Titans have historically typically been on the low side. And it was funny because I was at when I was in Phoenix, I was talking to an exec, and we were talking a little bit about analytics and just how much it's changed. And he actually said to me, he goes, I remember 10 years ago, we had one analytics person in the building. They're basically he's being facetious here, but like in a broom closet, and, you'd rarely hear them speak. He's like, now we have, half a dozen that actually have a platform. And I was like, what do you mean have a platform? He's like, well, when we go through the draft, there's a part of the in-room meeting where we turn to the analytics crew and they delve into all the information that they have that they're bringing to the table, and some of their algorithms, their IP, which is intellectual property. That's a big deal in analytics in the NFL right now, is whether or not you can be in analytics, but do you have IP? Are you creating algorithms that work, that are yours, that you own, that you can carry around with you if you change jobs? And it was just funny because we said we had one person to be like 10 years ago, and I hate to bang on the Titans here, but that was sort of the rap the last few years on the Titans, was that they were still one of these teams that maybe kind of only had like one person in the building who was really truly devoted 100% of the time to analytics. Obviously, that's something that's starting to change. It's become more of a storyline with Rand Carthon coming in. Obviously, the hire of Chad Brinker, who is one of those IP guys that you hear about, somebody who creates their own algorithms as it pertains to, not only free agency, but the draft. There's, you tie in how contracts work, all these different things. That's, I think so. You have this avenue where you're seeing the Titans are starting to attack it the way maybe some other organizations do. So look, that's obviously a good thing. We'll see how that works itself out, but I'm telling you, it's interesting to kind of see where analytics is going in the NFL, because you have, Thomas Dimitroff was was the GM for the Falcons for a long time. Obviously, before that was with the Patriots, the Browns. This is somebody who now works for, it's like this startup called Sumer Sports, and you had a hedge fund manager, Paul Tudor Jones, started up this sports company that's 100% steeped in building an analytics model, an algorithm that they can then sell to teams. That's the IP aspect. They will own it, but they will sell it to teams so that teams can make better decisions in free agency, the draft, and basically figure out how to build the best team based on this algorithm. So for the past couple of years, they're pouring millions and millions of dollars into developing this algorithm, and it's all coming out of this billionaire hedge fund manager who says, hey, this is how we do portfolios. This is how we add stuff to hedge funds, is we have these algorithms that tell us, how we should be investing and how we can balance it all out. We should be able to do that in the sports world. And I think a lot of teams are starting to buy into that. And I think Chad that's one of those guys that when you hear people talk about him, it's about what he's creating on his own, and he owns and then carries with him, which is what he was brought to the Titans.
Charles, we talked about this earlier. As we know, it's mock draft season out there, which is one of our favorite times of the year. But Will Levis, is sliding in a lot of these mock drafts. We saw, a comment yesterday out there in the NFL space that maybe the interviews aren't going very well for Will Levis at this point.
Right.
What have you heard on the Will Levis front and the quarterback front in general in terms of where exactly he fits in right now?
It's a good question, because I think I always, I don't know how much I believe whether he's slipping or not. Anytime you have a group of quarterbacks, there's always the slide guy, and sometimes it's real. For example, years ago, I remember Josh Rosen was the guy that when it was, what was that class? Mayfield, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, I'm leaving, Sam Darnold, right? That foursome. It was like, okay, well, how is that foursome? And then Lamar Jackson was kind of bringing up he was at the sort of tail end of that group. And it was like, how is this all going to flesh itself out? And Rosen, through the process, you heard, man, his interviews aren't great. He's kind of a quirky guy, has this sort of standoffish tone to him that teams don't like. Is it possible that he's not going to end up being this, top 5 pick that it felt like he was going to be throughout his career at UCLA? Well, yeah, he slid. He slid to 10. And then that actually turned out to be a real thing.
He was bad.
And he was bad, and he was out of the league very quickly. Like, it was what teams were picking up on. It turned out to be a reality. I don't know if Levis. Here's what I can tell you about Levis. When you talk to teams, unquestionably they love his skill set, the arm. I mean, I think most everybody agrees that he has the best arm in the draft. But I think ultimately they're like, look, there is a decision-making aspect of this that we can't get away from. And it's not like we're looking at film and he's playing with a team that's completely devoid of NFL talent. There's some other talent there that ultimately will end up playing in the NFL, but he's definitely playing against a lot of NFL talent, and he's making bad decisions pretty consistently that, weighed on Kentucky over the course of the last couple of years. That, teams aren't going to like that. I can't speak to how real the interviews, I'll give you a good example. Kayvon Thibodeau last year, teams were murdering him in interviews. They were just like, his interviews are terrible. He's coming off as just not serious about this, or I had one team say, like, he basically grabbed a snack on the way out of the room without asking.
It's like George weird. Costanza.
Yeah,
I'll take that. Thank you.
But they really were like, it was one of those things where it kind of hit some people the wrong way. Like, he was walking past the table, grabbed some snacks on his way out the door, and they're kind of like, huh, okay, well, is that entitlement? And I'm just like, man, wow, we're really getting deep into I'm like, look, the snacks are there.
If there's some mayo to put in my coffee, I'm going to grab the mayo and put it in my coffee.
I mean, it's just, and then you see him play this past season. You're like, it's probably overblown. Like, I don't think I would have cared about the bag of chips the guy grabbed when he's walking out the door. But it does. It matters, I think, how some people really process the way you are in those interviews. He's not the only one, by the way. Jalen Carter. For Jalen Carter's interviews haven't been great, honestly. And again, when I hear that, I'm like, okay, is this someone trying to float out negative info because they feel like there's a chance Carter might be slipping a little bit? They want to add to that momentum, and maybe, they get a shot at him further on down in the, top 10 or maybe outside of the top 10. They'd really love to have him get to them. Or is this real? Are they really going through the process with him and feeling like he's not being fulsome in his replies when it comes to, the problems that he's had over the last, couple months? But I think a lot of this stuff, we get into the nitpicking of players, particularly quarterbacks, and everybody's going to have a different take on. I'll never forget, somebody killed Justin Herbert to me. Went up and down about how Justin Herbert wasn't going to be a great quarterback, and then we got 3 games into Justin Herbert's rookie year, and the guy literally called me. It was like, I was wrong. I blew it. Completely blew that assessment.
At least he admitted it. Yeah. Man, there's some real...
Yeah, he did. That was the shocking part, is that never happens, but it was so obvious after the first 3 games that he was so embarrassed, and he knew. He literally sat and just killed Justin Herbert for, probably a half an hour one time. We had lunch.
He took the cashews.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He didn't. He wasn't kind to the waiter. So
man, yeah, it's amazing the nitpicking that goes on. Anything, speaking of nitpicking, Charles, anything this week in the rules changes front that especially bothers you or that you think is especially good?
No, I don't. There was nothing that I thought. It kind of fell the way that it did. I knew that some of the stuff, particularly as it pertains to, the replays on, some of the personal foul stuff. Teams don't want to get into the habit of basically replaying the entire game. Like, we're just going to let, we're going to let replay decide every important aspect of the game now, and that's how we're going to do NFL games. So it doesn't surprise me that didn't have the traction that maybe some thought it would. It's funny, the zero, the whole, we're going to let players wear zero rule, I thought was kind of funny, because you talk to personnel guys, they, especially the old school ones, kind of grumble about how numbers work now in the NFL, because they're like, They want the good old days of like the wideouts wore 80s, like the offensive linemen were 70s and 60s, the linebackers were in the 50s, because, they're like, it just makes it a pain when you're like assessing, you're sitting there and you're trying to do your work, and it's just this whole other layer of like, now you have, like, when are we going to have like a single digit offensive lineman? It's going to be like a tackle is going to wear 0 and say, I'm wearing 0 because that's the number of sacks I give up every year.
Oh, yeah.
So that always makes me laugh when you kind of hear the inside baseball of like why some people in the NFL don't like the numbers thing changing. So
Charles Robinson with us here on Robby and Rexrode, joins us every Thursday morning from 8 to 8:30 here on the program. Charles, great stuff as always, man. Appreciate you taking time to be with us, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, appreciate it, guys. Take care.
Absolutely. Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports. We'll take your thoughts, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025, including an interesting tweet from Adam Sparks. We'll get into that coming up next as well. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
When you want all the...
Going in and the score. Blast the score. He risks one, they score.
And don't forget the...
Oh, what a stop. Sliding across to make the save. The backhander, nice stop.
When all you want is Smashville. We have you covered. Hear every Predators game right here. We are your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and grand slams, no-hitters, and double plays are all back, and there's no better place to get in on the MLB action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. That's because right now new customers can step up to the plate with a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. Just go to FanDuel.com/Rob, sign up, place your first bet, and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win. Opening day today, so a big day in Major League Baseball. Aaron Judge, historic season a year ago. I think he picks up right where he left off. I'll take him with a homer. And give me the Braves. I think the Braves are going to have a big year. But you can take it any way you want to take it. Don't miss your chance to get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/Rob to sign up. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Ford. Have you ever thought to yourself, buying a car online? That sounds like a nightmare. But fear not, my friends. With Newton FastPass, it's easier than catching a leprechaun. In fact, our system is so user-friendly that even a leprechaun can do it. And let me tell you, those little guys are notoriously bad with technology. Also, with Newton FastPass, you're practically guaranteed to get a great deal. It's like finding a 4-leaf clover in a field of overpriced cars. And who doesn't love a good deal? I mean, I'd be willing to bet that even the most skeptical among us would feel lucky to snag a great deal on a new car. That's not all. When you use Newton FastPass, we'll throw in a free leprechaun to help you navigate the process. And trust me, these little guys know their way around a car deal. Just be sure to keep an eye on them because they can be a little mischievous. So what are you waiting for? Visit NewtonFord.com and join the ranks of lucky car buyers. You might even feel like you're living in your own personal pot of gold. And remember, with Newton FastPass, you're always in luck.
This week at the Electronic Express Markdown Mania event, get instant savings of up to 40% off in every department, including all 4K TVs, laptops and tablets, housewares, gaming consoles, speakers, and more. At Electronic Express, we have up to 50% off all your appliance needs in stock and ready to deliver. Plus, buy now, pay later with up to 3 years free financing. Shop the Markdown Mania sales event at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Gary Ashton here. People walk up to me all the time and say, don't sell without the intel. This message couldn't be more true. Right now is a fantastic time to buy or sell your home in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. No one has more intel than the Gary Ashton team. So what is this intel we keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without stagings or showings? Intel on where to find your next home so that you can sell your current home while the market is hot? An intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity. For more intel, visit GaryAshton.com, where we can give you the insight and the most up-to-date real estate intel in Nashville. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate team of the Nashville Predators. Get the confidence to sell your home and find the dream address without the stress. Visit us today at GaryAshton.com. That's GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
102.5 and 106.3, The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robby and Rexrode, 6 to 9.
You are talking about a team that's building a roster.
Chase and Michelle, 9 to 11.
He's still under contract.
It's not always X's and O's.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace, 11 to 2.
Trades, free agents.
Let's get it going. I think this is a good hire.
And Stillman and Company, 2 to 6.
I can give you one of the best coaches in the league.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Nashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3, The Game.
Hey, Nashville, this is Sean Henry. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
It is your last chance to sign up and play the official 4-team game bracket challenge, brought to you by Twin Peaks, home of 29-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and the Bluffs at Rocky Ridge. You can enjoy the biggest and best views in the Nashville area from your dream acreage home site. Call now at 866-GET-LAND. Once again, that's 866-GET-LAND. You can go to theGameNashville.com/bracket challenge or the Game Nashville app and pick your teams for a chance to win tickets to see Luke Combs coming up at Nissan Stadium on Saturday, April the 15th. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook. We are live from our 102.5 The Game studio, brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Taking your thoughts, 615-737-1025. Thanks to Charles Robinson for being with us in the last segment. We talked about this earlier, Joe, but pro day for Florida today, so obviously lots of eyes going to be on Anthony Richardson today. Rand Carthon going to be down there, according to Justin Schultz. And pro day also for the Tennessee Volunteers today. And according to Adam Sparks, he tweeted out a video. Says, I noticed that NFL scouts in town for pro day arrived early to see Joe Milton in practice. This from Adam Sparks just a few minutes ago on Twitter. So some scouts in town for pro day getting to Tennessee practice just a little bit early to watch Joe Milton sling the ball around out there on the practice field.
QB1, Caleb Williams, step aside, my friend. There's a new sheriff in town.
I will say, like Joe Milton, when I think about pro day, whenever Tennessee's pro day is next year, like Joe Milton is the type of guy that seems like, oh my God, like if you talk about impressive pro days, like Joe Milton seems like the one that could really just blow people out of the water with his pro day.
Oh man,
yeah, I mean just slinging it everywhere. Like he just threw the ball 83 yards on a rope right over the shoulder. How about that?
They might have him throw a receiver. Like he can probably throw a receiver 50 yards. You know?
Squirrel, come here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's going to. Yeah.
I cannot wait for this football season for no other reason than just talking about Joe Milton. It's going to be. I don't know how it's going to go. I know it's going to be entertaining as heck, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Listen, at this point right now, I could see Joe Milton a year from now being a lock first rounder. I really could. And I could also see Joe Milton a year from now being maybe he's like a third-day guy. I mean, seriously.
It's a big range.
I really believe the range is that wide. And if he can basically improve on the Orange Bowl and kind of harness that and take that forward and, obviously win this year, I think someone's going to be enamored with him.
I found that tweet from Sparks hilarious. The scouts are out, baby. Looking at Joe Milton. So we'll see how that part of it goes. Shout out to got a text on the text line. Charles Robinson talked about an offensive lineman maybe one day wearing 0 to symbolize the number of sacks they've given up. Somebody said, so does that mean Dennis Daly will wear number 25 for the number of sacks that he gave up? Dennis Daly. The jokes are going to continue to be there.
Yeah, as he goes out and just dominates
for the Arizona
Monty
Cardinals.
Ossenfort and the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, just beautiful stuff there on that front. It was interesting to get Charles's thoughts on the Aaron Rodgers situation, like the compensation. I mean, obviously, I knew when he went on McAfee that probably both sides of it didn't like it all that much. Like the Packers from the standpoint of, okay, so Aaron Rodgers is just out here just airing out all of his dirty laundry on the Pat McAfee show, which I think that they've grown increasingly tired of over the last couple of years. And then from the Jets' point of view, it's like that the point that Charles brings up, like, really? You were 90% retired. Well, what in the world does that mean about what your thought process is going to be like after next year? And now here we are, just gridlock, and nothing's getting done between the Packers and the Jets to this point.
Yeah. First of all, I would hope that a lot of the conversation in that room with the Jets would be like, yeah, he says a lot of crap. I mean, just, come on. I mean, just, sure you were, Aaron. I mean, because I don't buy that at all.
No.
I don't buy that for 1 minute.
Look, people can downplay, and he's downplayed it, and I don't care what he says. People can downplay the sharing the stage with Tom Brady Hall of Fame stuff all they want to. With him.
Yeah, like I may not be like top of list, but I have no doubt that's crossed his mind, and he would rather not be in the same year. So he won't be. Yeah. I think. I guess.
I guess not. We'll see. Jake in Greenbrier on the text line says, I still think it's wide open after Caleb Williams and Drake May. Joe Milton could be a top 10 pick next year. This is from Jake in Greenbrier on the text line.
He honestly could.
He could.
And we laugh and joke and all that.
He also may not be the starting quarterback by week 4.
Exactly. Yeah. Although
I feel like he's probably going to.
I feel like there's going to be enough separation that it would require some serious malfunctioning, which, I mean, that could happen too.
Well, also look at the first part of their schedule. Like they ought to be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, the receiving core looks good. You know, we're talking about today. They're all going to be watching Darnell Wright. Like they are up front. I do worry a little bit about the Vols next year. I mean, I think that was an underrated aspect of their season, is that they had a really good offensive line. But yeah, I mean, I don't think UVA is gonna. Is UVA going to come in here and be a problem?
I don't think so.
For Big Joe Milton.
I mean,
sorry, Johnny G.
John Glennon's getting out there.
He'll be out there with his shirt and tie.
The other part they got 3 good backs, which is going to be really interesting to watch too next year.
Yeah, I mean, if they find the answers up front, then their offense could be ridiculous. But and it's him too. I mean, he was good in the Orange Bowl, but it wasn't Hendon Hooker.
No,
it wasn't Hendon Hooker level of execution and consistency. You know, can he get close to that?
He throws a pretty deep ball, though. It's fun to watch.
Oh, hey, man.
Never seen anything like it.
I'm sure we'll get some good video today.
I'll never forget being in the stands at Neyland in that Missouri game, and he got in there, and he unleashed that one to Squirrel White, and I was like, that ball is sure hanging up there a long time. I mean, it's going far. Look at that thing. Then it finally came down. Just beautiful. It's mesmerizing.
It's majestic. Yeah.
It really is. 615-737-1025. It is that time of the day. It is time for Preds Pick to Click here on Robby and Rexrode. The Preds in action tonight, taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Be the first caller at 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. If you guess a goal scorer, you will win a pair of tickets to a future Nashville Predators home game. We will do that coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
They can be a fully formed model of what they're going to be offensively moving forward.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company.
You don't know what's going to happen with the roster or the team.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
This is a good lesson about sports and what we think and what actually happens.
Chad Withrow on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Trading in or selling your car, truck, or SUV? WeBuyAnyCar.com takes the hassle out of selling in 3 easy steps. 1. Get a free online valuation. 2. Drive to your local car buying center. And 3. Walk out with a check in about an hour. So don't wait. Get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Find out how much your car's worth at WeBuyAnyCar.
Our diamonds are direct from the source, direct from the cutters. There's no middlemen, there's no markup.
Meet Ben Wilkes, 10-year jewelry professional at Genesis Diamonds.
We've got everything from half a carat all the way up to 15 carats and everything in between. So I never have to go looking for something.
And if you're in search of that one-of-a-kind designer ring,
lots of times they come in and she's got a very specific picture, something that she wants, and she's shocked and amazed when I go right to a case and pull exactly what she's been looking at out.
And beyond the best price and selection, every customer at Genesis gets one-on-one personal attention with no hidden agenda.
Every customer that I've ever worked with has my personal cell phone number. It doesn't come from an automated system. It is person-to-person interaction. We're not on commission, so what that means is regardless of what you buy or don't buy, I'm paid the same.
Genesis Diamonds.
Here you get more, you get bigger, better, you get prettier. The quality, the selection, transparency, customer service, it can't be touched. It's unmatched.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advanced can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $37.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Small business owners, we know finishing your to-do list can feel like rowing upstream, but it's a river, a whitewater river, and the only paddles you have are pool noodles. Then when a new to-do pops up, you're like, nope, I'm already rowing upstream with these pool noodle paddles. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make it easy to get personalized discounts with a commercial auto insurance quote online, so your to-do list is smooth sailing. See if you can save on commercial auto insurance in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverages and discounts not available in all states and subject to policy terms and underwriting.
Wendy's $3 breakfast deal is a bacon or sausage egg croissant plus small seasoned potatoes for $3. It's the breakfast that don't miss. So if you did miss Wendy's breakfast, don't imagine fresh cracked eggs, sizzling sausage, crispy bacon, and block out those hot, buttery, flaky croissants. Croissants don't really make a sound, but if they did, for a breakfast that don't miss, Wendy's is that breakfast. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's. Select a request $3 breakfast deal to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte or combo orders.
Sometimes he gets lonely and needs some company.
10 for 17 for 45 yards in his career with 1 interception.
This is one of those years where it's a step back for them.
And that'll create more one-on-one situations and make it easier for him to throw the ball down the field.
It's Stillman and Company.
You've got real talent.
With Jared Stillman. Weekdays from 2 to 6 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
Good morning.
Good morning. You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
I have the radio on. I'm listening to
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. It's time for Preds Picks to click.
And a shot at the score.
Do you think you know who will score a goal in tonight's Predators game?
Little give and go.
Shoot your shot for a chance to win Preds tickets. Call 615-737-1025 now. Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are preferred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. It's Pick to Click, now on Robby and Rexrode.
And it is that time of the day. Time for Preds Pick to Click here on Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. The Preds in action tonight, taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Puck drop at 6 o'clock, pregame at 5 o'clock here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. The standings and Preds Pick to Click are as follows. It's getting down to crunch time here in the standings. I'm in first with 16. The listeners on the board the other night, so they have closed the gap to 14 correct answers. Joe Rexrode, close but no cigar the other night, with still at 11 after Jeremy Lauzon's goal taken away the other night.
I mean, just being that close with Jeremy Lauzon should be 2 points.
And Michelle with 7 correct answers.
I haven't gotten a point in so long. I pick a guy, they score the next game. Like it's
an
just
impressive
awful.
slump that Michelle Knesevic has been on. With that in mind, let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Josh, who is today's participant. Josh, good morning. Thanks for calling in. Who is your pick to click for the Nashville Predators?
I'm going to go with Tyson Barrie on the defense.
Ooh, going with Tyson Barrie. Josh, thanks for calling in. So
Thank
Barrie,
you.
the selection by Josh. I am up first in the competition today. This is a tough one. I am going to go with – I'll go Philip Tomasino. I say Tomasino gets on the board tonight. Joe, you're up next. Barrie, Tomasino off the board.
Well, let's see. Let's go with Evangelista.
Luke Evangelista, the selection. So
He'll
Barrie.
Hit Malkin and score a goal.
There you go. Barrie, Tomasino, Evangelista off the board. Michelle Knesevic, your pick to click.
This is a tough one. Let me go with Tommy Novak. I think he gets back on the board tonight.
I like it. So Novak, these selections. Barrie, Tomasino, Evangelista, and Novak, these selections in Preds Pick to Click. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. This is a big one for the Preds tonight, Joe. This is a big one for the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight. So you have a really emotional but also improbable win the other night on the road against the Bruins, and now you got to follow it up by going to Pittsburgh to take on Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and the Penguins, who right now are hanging on by 1 point in the final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. So whatever the best version of Pittsburgh is, I would assume you'll probably see that tonight if you're the Predators.
Yep, you would think so. They gotta have it. And the Preds, looking at their schedule ahead, if they want those games, those road games coming up at Winnipeg and Calgary to mean anything, they got to have it too, or they got to have enough of these.
Yep, tonight also, the Jets not in action tonight, so the Jets will be back tomorrow taking on the Detroit Red Wings. So the Preds, if they win tonight, will pull within 1 point of Winnipeg, and they'll have one game in hand at that point. So Winnipeg, Calgary, Nashville, all right there together. Winnipeg at 85 points, Calgary at 83 points. Preds have 2 games in hand on both of them. They're at 82 points. They will play the Flames coming up. They'll also play the Jets coming up. But if you can hang around and take advantage of these games in hands, all of a sudden that Calgary game, the Winnipeg game coming up next week for the Predators, 2 weeks from now for the Predators, could be pretty big.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the idea is, look, at this point, we can dispense with bleeping the bed, right? The bed's not going to be bleeped enough.
It will not.
Yeah. So can you keep it interesting all the way, through the middle of April when the season ends? Tough teams that are playing for a lot coming up on the schedule. Not St. Louis, but of course that's also the dangerous home game afternoon against a team that's just loose and just would like to mess you up.
Yep, no question about that.
I don't know which is tougher.
And the big question tonight is Roman Josi going to play? We had Dan Hinote on earlier. Didn't have any clarity on that situation. David Poyle told us a couple of days ago that Josi was on the trip and that there was a chance he could play in the Pittsburgh game, but didn't know that for sure. So we'll see whether or not he gives it a go tonight. I would assume that him being on the trip is a good sign and that there's at least a decent chance that he plays tonight. But either way, it sounds like he's close. But they could use him tonight. Yeah, look, defensively, you want to lock things down because that's how you're going to have to win. Like, you're going to have to win 2-1 or 3-2 or whatever it is. But offensively, they need him in there. Like, they're so limited right now in what they can do offensively. They need Josi in there. He's a guy that can make one of those game-changing plays on his own, and quite frankly, other than him, they just don't really have that right now.
Yeah, so Chris says, can I pick a shutout? Preds get shut out. I think they have a drop-off from last game. We have had – that is a valid pick.
I believe that's happened before.
Preds pick to click.
Yeah, one of you. Robby did. Oh, no, you did.
I think it was Joe. Me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Did I get it?
I think you may have.
Yeah, you did.
Can I change my pick?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
It's already written down.
All right, Luke E. Get it done, sweet Luke E.
That was strange.
You got a text here that says, it's absolutely nuts that Pick to Click now doesn't feature Josi, Forsberg, Duchesne, or Johansson picks. It is nuts.
None of them are playing.
That's where they're at.
It's also nuts how you spelled Johansson there on the text line, but that's okay. I'm sorry. It's Johansen.
That was unnecessary.
But at least it's not, you don't call him Ryan Johansson. So, unlike some people who chose him to be in the organization.
Well, there is that. That is taking place as well. Maybe we can ask him about that next week.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I think we should do a pronunciation bee.
Is that a thing?
I think we should make it a thing.
You're a former spelling bee champion, aren't you?
I am.
Back in the day.
I definitely wasn't.
The Prince William County spelling bee of 1984 is still a heartbreaker. I finished third.
What was the word you lost on?
Enzyme. But the guy said enzyme. And I was like, well, you said it with an I, and I spelled it with an I.
Enzyme.
I didn't have the Y in the second vowel anyway, so I totally botched it.
I kid you not. One of the great pleasures of my life back in the summertime when I was home from school used to be able to watch the Scripps National Spelling Bee take place on television. It was awesome. I enjoyed it.
That's next level.
It is. I don't know how we got off on the spelling bee stuff there, but we did. 615-737-1025. So I would expect today that at some point we'll hear about Anthony Richardson dominating a pro day. You know, we've talked about Anthony Richardson today. Mike Tannenbaum had the Titans taking him at 11 in his mock draft yesterday, but I would be very surprised if the day gets done and everybody's not wowed by whatever Anthony Richardson does at his pro day today.
Rand Carthon is there.
He is.
Rand Carthon, as he has pointed out, has maybe a little extra information sources down in Gainesville, his old stomping ground. So, Hey, man, what would people think about Anthony Richardson, next Titans quarterback?
I don't know. I mean, I think we'd have a wide variety of opinions on that one.
We'd have a wide variety. It would be fascinating.
It would. Now, honestly, not a bad situation for him. Come in, you don't have to play. That's the thing. I would hope that anyone taking him recognizes that he's probably not ready to play an NFL football game coming up. Yeah. So whether it's Seattle that we talked about with Hendon Hooker or the Titans, Tannehill, you got a quarterback right there. So he wouldn't have to play.
I mean, I think all these rookies ideally get a year. That's what it should be. I still believe that. Other than Bryce Young, who will be a Pro Bowler right away.
I think C.J. Stroud will play too.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. If you go at the top of the draft to a terrible team that has no answer anyway, then you're going to have to play. But ideally.
They got Andy Dalton there, though, don't they, in Carolina?
Is that where he is now?
I think that's where he is. Just hand him the reins and take off, man.
The Red Rifle.
Wait, I thought he got.
Red Rifle take over.
I thought he was in San Fran. No, that's Sam Darnold. Never mind.
Yeah. Andy Dalton.
Yeah, there's a lot of Carolina quarterbacs floating around.
Yes. Yeah. Just one more that's trying to float around and get back.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Sign him up.
Is he going to be at Florida Pro Day? He was
a former Gator.
He was a Gator at one point.
You know what, guys? I didn't get a whole lot of throws in at the Auburn Pro Day, so let me just come down to Florida.
Hey, Anthony Richards. Hey, move over, buddy. Cam's here, okay? Grandpa's here. Old head is here to show you how to do it.
I mean, everybody's comparing him to Cam Newton anyway. Here's a side-by-side photographic comparison. It's Cam Newton and Anthony Richardson at the Florida Pro Day.
There you go.
Get Tebow in there while you're at it. Is he trying to come back?
Get
Tebow in the XFL.
That would be okay. Someone says criticizing his spelling when you just said Lukey. Luke E.
Luke
E.
spacebar E.
Luke space E. Sweet Luke E. Evangelista.
Oh, I thought you were calling him hey Lukey.
Oh, geez.
Like a nickname?
No, sweet
Luke E.
Luke E.
Yeah.
With an E. His last name starts with an E.
Yeah.
On that note, that does it for us today here on Robby and Rexrode. Jason Michelle is up next. This is 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
All the big plays.
Tannehill, right up the middle, touchdown, Tennessee.
All the big stories.
The Titans' window to contend is however long Derrick Henry stays Derrick Henry.
All in one place.